We are live on Facebook and YouTube. Thanks for making us part of your day. Special guest in studio. It's been a while. It's been a decade. It's been a long time. Kevin Gilbert, native of New Jersey, former EKM at a Cheesecake Factory, and a graduate of Johnson and Wales. Kevin, it's been a while. How are you? Welcome to the program today.
Kemfer, what's up, man? Thanks for having me on your platform, man. Much appreciated. Salute to everything you do. It's definitely a beautiful morning, man. I'm looking forward to this conversation.
For sure. Before we get rolling here, how stunned were you by this AD trade? The world is talking about it. Luka for AD, why this trade was made, how it was made. What are your thoughts on this trade?
To really dive in and to hear all the analysts and all the insiders with their takes and whatnot, like you would lose a month of your life, man, just to go down that road, man. But
Yeah,
to like look at it from a financial standpoint, I think the Mavericks just they weren't committed to that. Knowing how beloved Luca is to that fan base, like they really wanted to have a statue of him next to Dirk out there, and that like what he did for that team, like I I get you could talk about his defense, but talk about his offense, talk about how he gets his team involved. He literally took his team to the championship last year.
for
All
sure.
right. So why would you want to break this up now? So it's like, these are questions that we probably won't have answers to, like honest answers or whatever. Maybe it'll come out in the future. But to just like really, from my opinion, to see, I think financially, the Mavs just didn't really want to commit to that. I think on the defensive end, he was definitely a liability. So when you get Anthony Davis, now you got a rim protector. Now you got a big who could step out behind the arc, bang some shots down, who's also a champion as well. He's not that old too. I believe he's in his 30s. So he's also, NBA All-Star, All NBA, like all defensive team. Like Davis ain't a scrub. The only thing that for me is a concern, and I think a lot of people feel that way, is just his durability. Anthony Davis is one of those dudes where it's like pretty tough to make sure that he's healthy and consistently on the field. So I feel like the Lakers got a good one in Luca, and this is basically since Luca is like 25, 26 years old, like
You got 10,
this is
12 years.
somebody now. Yeah, man. So you got now a all-star, all NBA type of player for the net, exactly what you said, man. 10, 12 years
Yeah.
easy. So now obviously he's gonna be on the higher end of the payroll, but at least you got somebody who's a box office type of star that people don't mind pet spending the money to come to. And you could also, with merch sales and whatnot, using his name, likability and all that, like you'll get the money back. So for the Lakers, I know that was like a no-brainer. My thing with them is that you lose somebody on the defensive end, you lose somebody around the
You
rim.
need a
And
big, yeah.
yeah, so for that, it's like a little tough. Now, at the end of the game, I know LeBron wants the ball and whatever, but LeBron, I could definitely see this scenario where he has the ball and then could create, go to the cup if you have, and if
Dish
not,
out.
just dish it.
Yeah.
That's it. And now, since LeBron is going to take on two or three defenders when he's driving to the basket, now you got Luca open, and if he got the one-on-one, that's barbecue chicken right there. You could,
Yeah.
shake and bake, do what he got to do, and then maybe swing it again. Just hit another player, or he could just pop right there. He just catches and then just throws it up, and he's pretty consistent when it comes to that shot. So for me, I I feel bad for the Mavs fans who
Yeah.
really invested 7 years of their lives, for this. But at the end of the day, the NBA is a business, man. They're not committed to these players. They
They
got
don't
a
care about
shelf life.
feelings. Yeah, they don't care about feelings.
Not at all, man. And with them with that super max, which was stretching into like the 300 million,
Yeah.
that's a lot to commit to one player. Now the Lakers don't have to do that because of with that hometown, with
Discount.
the player bargain agreement, how they have where that's like designed for the players to stay. So this is like the first time where that I can remember where a team drafted a player and wanted to retain him, and the player's like, "Ah, nah, I'm out." I don't think that was the case. I think Luca wanted his money guaranteed, and then after that, then it's like, all right, if you want to ship me out, ship me out. But it's just like, where did this come from? Like,
Yeah.
no other teams were involved. Like, was that the best on the table at Anthony
Like
Davis? Like,
Dallas calling the Lakers. And a day and age, Kev, where social media is so hard to keep things so tight knit. Nobody knew, insiders, LeBron James didn't even know. Are you buying our narrative that LeBron had no idea?
I'm a big LeBron fan. I think a bigger fan than me might be you, but I think you went to his high school and all
I
that
did, I
stuff.
did, I did,
Like,
I did.
you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So like you're obviously a big fan. For me, it's like, how did LeBron not know, man? LeBron knew about D'Lo being traded, and that now all of a sudden he doesn't know about AD, and that's like the wingman kind of guy. Like,
Same agent,
for
Rich Paul, right?
I was just gonna so with Rich Paul telling other teams during the draft not to draft Bronny because they wanted that connection. It's really hard for me to like believe that LeBron didn't know, knowing that Rich Paul was working with Pelinka on getting this deal done because Davis had to waive his trade kicker. So in order for that deal to work out, so for LeBron not to know, and the Lakers came out with a statement like, why even do that? Like, it's just a little too weird
Damage
for me.
control. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little too weird. Like, it's a little too many little things that make me feel like he did know. Now, for like, how's it gonna work and all that? Like, I don't know, man. I don't know if it's gonna work. Like, with Davis now, with Dallas, like Kyrie is great in his own, man, and
Yeah,
and
for
Clay
sure.
Thompson is good too. But Clay Thompson, he had these season-ending injuries and all that, and
Two
he's
major
not the
ones. Yeah. It's not the
he
same.
he dude. He was top five in two-way players, offense and defense. He's not that same lockdown defender, man.
Not
He's
anymore.
not anymore. So I feel, and then with Dave's durability, I feel like LeBron whispered to the upper management about this, and that's why not a lot of people knew about it. And if LeBron didn't, let's hypothetical, if he didn't say something, he definitely would have known from his boy Rich Paul, man. Like that. That's the homie,
Yeah.
right? Like how do you not? And they do business together. Like, how do you not know? So
Yeah.
that's where I stand on that.
What would you tell Luca? You're all about healthy living, cooking, life. What would you tell Luca about getting into shape? What would you tell him? Any advice?
So it's first having the question and asking him like, are you in shape? Do you
Yeah.
feel like you're at the peak of your conditioning and really understanding like how like where's his mindset? And then it's like as a coach, what do you want to see out of him? So for me, like he gets past defenders. Defenders on him. He almost has like that Paul Pierce kind of dribble where he could like do a couple of hezzy kind of things and get right past you, knowing that you don't have the same speed as a De'Aaron Fox, but you're shifty enough to be able to get around defenders. It's like mobility. Do you want to like slim down and then strengthen your legs, strengthen your knees, your ankles, make sure that and your hips, make sure that those are aligned and strong properly so you're able to go east and west when defending. Because for me, it's like Luca on the defensive end falls into that category of the James Hardens,
Yeah.
of like the Julius Randles, where they they don't really understand or at least show you about switching
Right.
when a player switches off. You're supposed to go to the other guy, vice versa, or whatever. And I'm not really seeing a lot of cohesion
There's a disconnect.
on that part. There is a big disconnect,
Yeah.
man. So the the health advice is just trying to figure out where he's at and then lean out, because I don't know what he eats, but for me, I've fed athletes, entertainers, all that kind of stuff, and I know how important it is to make sure you eliminate salt, you eliminate the condiments, the ketchups, the barbecue sauce, teriyaki sauce. It's important to eliminate all that stuff. Carbohydrates, for inflammation, you really want to like eat a cleaner life. Like Chris Paul, he's on the vegan diet, and he's been doing it for a long time. And hearing him in interviews, he's like, this is the reason why I'm able to still play at a high level and be as fast as he is. So for me, it's a no brainer, but it's a lifestyle commitment, almost like a Zion kind of thing where, the first couple years he couldn't stay healthy.
Yeah.
He couldn't be on the court, and it was his diet. You just see him like overweight, sluggish. You talk to people or whatever, and you find out that his chef was like not really cooking the greatest for him when it comes to like lean diets, healthy eating. It was giving him like fried foods and stuff like that, where as an athlete, you can't like, as a cheat meal, cool, but you
In the
can't really
summertime, off
just.
season, right? Yeah. But in
Yeah, man.
season, no, you got to be buttoned up. You have to be buttoned up.
It's it was like Boogie Cousins too. Like, take away the anger stuff that Boogie had. Like, he was just at his height, man, 6'10", 6'11". He would be coming in overweight, and you would see him huffing and puffing down the court. And he's the same age as John Wall, and John Wall was able to extend his career for a couple more years after. It was just with him, the injuries and the price tag was just a little too much for teams to want to commit. But I felt like for Boogie being pretty strong, for having good basketball moves in the post, for him to be able to take it outside, and for him to be a pretty good defender, I just felt like his like the conditioning, the food that he was eating is just, that kind of hindered his development and longevity in the NBA.
For sure. I think short term, Dallas won, long term, Lakers won, right?
Agreed. Agreed.
Yeah. So, Kev, you're born and raised in Jersey, state of New Jersey.
That's
Did
right.
you play football in high school in Teaneck?
Yeah, man. Crazy, man. I actually started football in eighth grade.
Eighth grade.
And yeah, I started in the eighth grade because soccer was actually like my first love. And that helped me with conditioning and everything like that. I was on traveling teams and everything and was really good. Um, but like, for I was always the biggest kid growing up. Now I stopped growing the summer of my freshman year going to my sophomore year. Like, I stopped growing. But besides that, I was always the tallest kid growing up. And I had height, center, power forward in basketball. During baseball, see, I would just crush home runs. But for football, man, it was just like I always wanted to play it, but my parents were just afraid about injuries. But the crazy thing is, man, I got injured a lot in soccer. And at that time too, like when you just break down injuries and whatnot, like the frequency of soccer and football, there's way more injuries in soccer than in football. Now, if you get an injury in football, not talking about a sprained ankle or anything like that, it's more severe. Like maybe torn ligament, broken whatever bones or whatever. There's a lot of concussions too that happen in the NFL. So those things are a little bit more severe, and I understand that. But I was like, I just want to shot. Like, I just want to try it out. So I told my parents, the summer going into eighth grade, I'm like, this is my last year. I could like learn how to play football. When I get into high school, I'm gonna play, and it's best for me to like try it out and practice now rather than when I'm a freshman. So they agreed to it and whatnot. My little brother got to reap the benefits of that, because of that, me doing that, because he didn't have to play soccer anymore and he jumped right into football. And when I was a senior, he was a freshman, so he was able to, get a couple more years under his belt and whatnot, and did really well. But for me, for football, man, like I was good. I was really good that eighth grade, where I was big. I was a starting linebacker. I didn't know plays really, so when they just said, "Hey, run and get the quarterback," that's what I did. I got a bunch of sacks and whatnot, some tackles. But the schemes, I was also a running back too, and just understanding like positioning and counters and the gaps, the one, the two on defense, the A B gaps and all that. Like, it was just a little challenging for me because they expected you to know it right away and I didn't. So for that, it was a little tough, but I did good freshman year. I was a tight end, a defensive end, and it was a good time, man. I played with a couple of people that made it to the NFL, which was pretty cool. Still stay in contact with these cats. Um, so just the experience alone, the teamwork, the camaraderie, and all that, and knowing that we went against other schools, big schools like Hackensack, went against the Bergen Catholics, the
Don
St.
Bosco's,
Joe's,
yeah.
Bosco was huge, and they all pumped out NFL players. So it's just crazy to
Yeah.
know, like, what was it? I graduated in '02, so a little over 20 years ago that we played against NFL
Guys.
players, in
Yeah.
high school, and it was pretty, it was surreal, man. Just being from Bergen County, being from this area, it doesn't really click like that until you get a little older and just take a step back. Like, damn, man, we went against
Right.
Phil Sims' son, like
Yeah.
Chris Sims, like we went against him. He was in Ramapo, play Ramapo High, like he was different. And just knowing, like, my brother went against Brian Cushion when Cushion was at Bergen
Beat
Catholic,
Kush. Yeah.
you
Texans.
know,
Yeah. Yeah.
Ryan Grant, who went to
Packers.
Bosco,
Yeah.
went to the Packers too. There was, there's a lot of studs, man, who went here. I mean, you could even go to Greg Olson, man. Greg Olson, he was in Wayne, and my
Wow.
brother played against him in the playoffs, and the dude was a monster, man, Greg Olson. So it's like, years go by, and I don't know if you like want to appreciate because these people beat us. It's not it's not like we beat them and have this
Right.
crazy
Right.
game or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
they beat us,
Right.
but it's still like pretty cool knowing that you share the same field and this was all happening in high school.
Did you prefer offense, defense, any concussions?
Yeah, I definitely had one. I definitely had one.
You knew
And
right away.
that was during practice. I didn't know, but knowing the signs that I had, it was basically like I went against first team defense as a sophomore. So as a sophomore, I had a lot of buzz as a freshman, and then because I was a tight end and I stopped growing, I couldn't compete with the other tight ends. So I'm like, let me just be a wide receiver. And this is my first time ever being a wide receiver. So I'm just like trying
Wow.
to figure it out. And as a sophomore, I'm going against our first string D, and I'm cooking these guys. Like, I'm really making them look bad.
Yeah.
And they're not going at 100% because it's practice. All right. And this is a high school. But for me, I'm trying to like make varsity. I'm trying to make the team. I'm trying to make a name for myself. I'm really trying to work on my craft and really be like focused with this. So they would get upset and they would, like, go for me and all that. And this is still when you could tackle with your helmet and all that kind of stuff.
So it was a head
And
on. Boom.
head on,
Yeah.
and they ain't no refs, so it's not like you get a penalty in practice. It's just like, hey man, why you can't do such and such. But I do remember this one play at practice where I was at wide receiver and I was going against our number one cornerback. I cooked him a couple plays prior. This play, the ball it was well overthrown me, and I'm just running, and he's just running up on me, and then he bam cracks me right in my helmet or whatever with his helmet, and I go to the ground because I didn't expect it. Like, the ball wasn't even close. It was like 10 yards overthrown or whatever, but he was just pissed off that I
Right.
was making him look bad. So I'm on the ground. We was wearing blue jerseys. That was our practice jerseys. They were blue. I was looking at them and they were flashing white. It was like, I'm like, whoa,
Wow.
what the fuck is this?
You knew
I'm
right
like,
away.
I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, this ain't. I'm like, this is, and they're yelling at me, come on, Gilbert, get back there, get back. So I went right back and did it again. And there was another time in a game where I caught the ball and it was like a blindside hit kind of deal or whatever. We're now in the NFL, players ejected or whatever. I get hit, same deal. I get up and everything's like flashing, the jerseys are flashing and whatnot. I'm going off to the sideline like, yo, I ain't feeling good. And the coaches are yelling at me, hey, get the F back in there, get back in there, or whatever. I'm like, all right, man.
Yeah.
I was,
That was
and
the mentality back then. No one knew about concussions. Wasn't a big
that's
thing, right?
that's
So
it. That's
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, that was sophomore and junior year, and I was a cornerback free safety on defense. And after sophomore year, in my head, I already knew that I wasn't gonna like go to the NFL. I knew that I could definitely go to college, but it's like, what am I gonna do in college? Like, to make money, like what kind of career path and all that. And sophomore year is where I really found my niche or whatever. I think we're going to dive into that later on, but sophomore year is where I found out, like, all right, cooking's going to be my thing. So after that sophomore season, and then winning some competitions or whatever and cooking, that's when I was like, you know what? Let me just focus on offense. All right. I'll just do whatever we got to do because our system was like, I would be there like second and third down. And then if we had to go on fourth down, like to punt the ball, I would stay out there on special teams and be like the gunner kind of deal. So that was it. It was just chill, and I never really had another thing like that, another concussion kind of deal. Um, my memory and everything else is still sharp. No pains, no headaches, no migraines, nothing like that. So the technology now for helmets and equipment is different. The awareness is different. The teaching techniques are a lot different where you're not targeting like the chest area. You're going for the hips. You're going for the waist. You're
Low.
you're 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 wrapping around and you're driving your legs to bring the offensive player to the ground. Like we're teaching that now. So it's been a thing for a while now. I want to say the last 10, 12 years. Like that has been a great awareness piece for tackle football. Just making sure that we're ensuring that everybody is doing the right thing and being safe.
For
So
sure. What number were you? What number did you wear back in high school, back in the day?
yeah. So I was 7. I was lucky enough
Number
to to
seven.
to get
Lucky,
7,
lucky
and that's my
seven.
number. It rhymes with Kevin. So so I was able to rock with it my sophomore and junior year.
Okay.
And then my senior year, we had a new quarterback, and that quarterback he wanted number 7. So my thing was like, all right, you could have 7, but you gotta like make sure you targeting me and looking out and whatnot. So we did that, and
Yeah.
it ain't the NFL where he had to pay me money and all that.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was my guy too, so he got 7 and 1 was available. So I switched to
Okay.
1 my senior year, and my brother was able to wear 1 2 years after that, which was pretty cool.
That's dope. Little homage,
Mhm.
right? Little
That's
homage.
right.
Yeah,
That's
for
right.
sure. How were you back in the day? Tough kid, troublemaker. How were you back then?
Growing, I was cool, man. I never really got into the mix just because I played a bunch of sports, and because of I was a soccer player, I was a basketball player, baseball, I was on a swimming team, a diving team. Like I was pretty well versed with everybody. And growing up in Teaneck, a ton of cultures, big Jewish community, Muslim, you got African Americans, big Hispanic community, obviously white as well. And it's a good balance, man. And for that, I was able to, be in all the circles. It wasn't like I was just with one clique. I was, in all these sports circles. So I was able to have like a pretty big friend group and whatnot. And it helps a lot in life, man. It helps a lot in life just knowing that not everybody's the same. People got different political views. People have different religious beliefs and whatnot. And for me, I was able to see all that at a really young age, which was pretty helpful.
Thoughts on Jersey compared to New York? Jersey versus New York. Biggest difference.
Man, the hustle and the bustle. Because I worked most of my experience as an adult working is New York. Um, So New York City, Midtown. Well, I worked at McCormick and Smith's, which I started here in Hackensack, and then I did so well, I got promoted to sous chef at 19, 20 years old, and then I did so well that they promoted me to go out into the city. So I didn't go to the city because of the money, because I now had a commute, but and they didn't really give me much of a pay raise. It was kind of like a wash, but I saw the opportunity, and I saw how I could put that I worked at a restaurant in New York City on my resume. And that's how I've always looked at it. I never chased the money. I always chased the opportunity, and I felt like this was a good opportunity for me to like learn. And as soon as anybody in Jersey that works in New York knows this feeling where you take the bus, Port Authority, you get dropped off wherever. As soon as you get off that bus, like you're just
Yeah.
walk you're now that your speed is like increased for some just reason. Like I don't know if it's adrenaline or something, but just something that happens when you're in the city, and now it's just a fast pace, man. And the the demands are a lot like stronger too, because when you're working in Midtown, there's a lot of money. There's a lot of overseas money too. A lot of Europeans coming over here to get a taste of New York City. And when they think of New York City, they think of Times Square.
Right.
So for us, we were located on 52nd, on the Avenues of America, literally right across from the NBC studios and a block away from Radio City. So it's like everything was right there, and it was a great opportunity for me to like really make sure I get this management tool under my belt, because again, I was 20 at the time. I'm now managing men in the kitchen who have kids that are older than me. So it's like important that I'm on my ones and twos, and I'm pretty sharp, and I make sure that I don't joke around in a messed up kind of way where it could offend people,
Right.
because that's the last thing I need is to like offend people that I'm working with, and I need them. I need them to make sure they're doing the right job, and to offend somebody and I'm the new guy. So, it was very important to make sure I'm like doing the right thing. Um, the money is different in New York. Jersey is a little bit more relaxed, man. Like the atmosphere, the people, the pace, it's a little bit more slower. So
Right.
so for that, like I'm grateful that
Right.
I have that opportunity to just like wind down and not feel like the pressure of New York City. Um, Obviously, I worked in Westchester, which was good. I worked in West Nyack, which was good, where those places are a little bit slower than New York City, but you still got like the New Yorkers that work in Midtown and whatnot, that travel from West Nyack, that travel from Westchester down. And New Yorkers are New Yorkers, man. They'll keep it real with you. They'll tell you what it is, which I appreciate. I got a lot of discipline from being there, knowing that the bar is a little bit higher than in Jersey. Like in Jersey, there's certain things that you could probably get away with or whatever, but in New York, like
Yeah.
they'll say how it is, man.
Right away.
It's no faking it.
Yeah.
Um, Jersey, we're direct too. Like we're not afraid to call anybody out. But when it comes to like dealing with diners, dealing with servers, because servers there, like it's like a lot of the servers I dealt with in Manhattan, a lot of them were like theater people, like
Okay.
off Broadway folks or whatever, where they're not really getting a steady paycheck from that. They're just trying to make it. So, they're a little bit on edge because, they're traveling from out of state and whatnot and trying to, make it here in New
Make
York
ends meet.
City.
Yeah.
So it's important to like, be sympathetic for these people too, and not just retaliate if somebody's coming in hot to be hot right back or whatever. It's important to, just kind of be even keel and just hear people out, hear the conversations, and just make sure that the guests at the end of the day are being taken care of, because that's our job in the restaurant, is to make sure we're delivering an experience and delivering this service where the people feel good about handing you their money.
For sure. Your cooking inspirations, right? Half black, half Jordanian. We talked about that before we came on air. Biggest inspiration into getting into cooking.
So my parents, being at home, they did a lot of the cooking. We didn't go out to eat at the fancy fine dining spots or anything like that. But we did go, like I remember Sizzler. Sizzler was like my one of my favorite
Big back
spots to
then.
go to,
Yeah. Yeah.
because it was not only all you can eat, and I was a big kid too, like growing up, where I just got to see like the different types of foods and cuisines and whatnot, and it was like pretty cool to just pick and choose rather than just order a meal and be stuck with that meal. Like I got to, try things out, which was really important. To like really dive in, who was like other than my parents and family members, it was like my home economics teacher. Miss Carol Otis. She was the one that saw this potential in me my sophomore year and got me into a home economics club where I got clowned on in high school because it's sewing,
Guy
it's
that's cooking. Yeah.
and even
Big
the
picture.
football. Yeah, they all. Hey, I could take a joke, man.
Yeah.
It's all good, man. I have my football coaches because I was a wide receiver. They all joked on me whenever I dropped the ball. They was like, "Oh, there's Kevin with his cooking mitts on. Got his cooking mitts on. He can't catch a football today." So I accepted all that stuff. I could take a joke and all that, but I always saw the bigger picture. And Miss Otis, God rest her soul, she left us a couple years ago. She was that one teacher, man. We could all think of that one teacher that was really inspirational for us. She saw this in me and spoke to my parents and basically pitched to them that I should go to technical school junior and senior years. So I thought about that and they spoke to me because we really thought sports was going to be it. Like I was going to do something in sports. But that wasn't the case. And food, like I was really good at doing what I was doing. And I'm like, yeah, let me give it a shot. Let me try technical school. So I went to
Yeah.
Teterboro Tech for half the day. I was in Teaneck for the first half of the day. Then I got on a bus and went to Teterboro the second half. And I was in a industrial sized kitchen. We had wear chef coats and all that stuff and whatnot. We learned the curriculums and whatnot. I was taking college credit courses while I was in high school, and that helped me out a lot when I eventually went to Johnson and Wales. So Miss Otis was a bit like the biggest teacher influence for me in my life, and then Emeril Lagasse. Like he's my Babe Ruth. He's the reason why I wanted to go to Johnson Wales because he went there, and I got to stay in the same dorm that he did.
Pretty dope.
So yeah, so that was like cool, and he wasn't the first to do cooking shows, but he was the first to do a live cooking show with an audience. And just like the theatrics that he would do, like flambe stuff, do the stuff with the bam, like, seasonings, parsley, whatever he was doing, like that was like intriguing to me. And it wasn't like he was doing all these like technical French terms and techniques with certain like doing gas streaks and certain foams. Like it was just straight up home cooking, man. He got his restaurants in New Orleans where he's known for his gumbos, etouffees, beignets. Like he does like good home cooking, which that was the stuff that I really liked and you know brought into my repertoire of stuff. But with me coming from fine dining, I was able to put my twist on a lot of things, and I still do it to this day, man.
You're a chef, big chef, great talent. Last time you overcooked something in the kitchen?
Ooh, so Dan, you really want to?
we we
We're
we
going
all
to
did
bad now, huh?
it.
You ain't perfect. You ain't perfect. We know there's one thing. Nah, it's a good one. So for me, man, as silly as this may be, man,
Yeah,
rice, like rice
it's always the simple things,
sometimes
right? You take for granted, right?
it's just 1 cup of rice to 2 cups of water.
Uh huh.
And for whatever reason, like I always I take like the top off or whatever, and then I stir it around. You're just
Yeah.
supposed to like leave it alone.
Right.
And there's times where I do overcook it. Not often, but when we got to get the rice going and there's nobody around, I'm like, damn, man, I got to make freaking rice. And that's the easiest thing to do, man. Like
Yeah.
we have a rice cooker too.
Right.
Like it's timed and all that. So I'm not
Yeah.
like it doesn't happen, but it's happened before where I've overcooked rice. So
There you go. Rice.
I'll give you that, no cap.
Best beach in New Jersey. You guys got some really good beaches, right? Out there in Jersey, which I love. What's your favorite beach out there in Jersey?
Damn, man, got a limit to one.
You can do. Give me a five. Give me five.
Okay, so I grew up at Wildwood Crest. My
Okay.
my parents. Like we used to do like the Pocono thing when I was younger, but then it was just like the lakes was cool and all that, but it was like let's do the beach thing. So did that. So Wildwood Crest, like growing up, that was the spot. Wildwood, literally right next door. That was more of like the party scene and whatnot. Like I remember being a young kid seeing like college kids, high school kids smoking cigarettes and drinking beer and all this kind of stuff. I'm like, this is crazy. I just want to stay in Wildwood Crest. Like this is a whole nother scene.
Yeah.
I remember in college, like the Seaside Heights,
Okay.
like that was cool. Now for families, like I don't, Seaside is just a little too much. That's more like the college kids and whatnot. But like Point Pleasant, that's a pretty good time, man. Point Pleasant Beach, they have the aquarium that's located there. It's a small aquarium, but it's literally on the boardwalk. There's a couple of rides and all that, which is pretty cool. Asbury Park is nice. Belmont, Belmar, all good spots, man. Jersey, like Atlantic City, like that beach, it's not horrible whatsoever. They do have like a little tiki bar that's on the beach, which is pretty cool. So like to get those casino vibes and to do something different, like when it's warmer out, you could sunbathe and whatnot. The waters are okay. It's not the greatest, but for me, like if you're like, hey, you got to go to this beach or whatever, just you got the family and all that, like I'll do Point Pleasant.
Point Pleasant.
Yeah.
We talked about this before we came on air. Being adopted, losing your brother, COVID, shutdown, loss of jobs, of your job, mental health, Kev. It's a lot going on right now in the world. How were you able to be from the lowest of the lows to the highest of the highs? Take us back that journey. Some dark times, but there is a light at the end of the tunnel. We're alive today. We woke up today, right?
So for me, it's like just having appreciation of what I have. It's like I do community service work where it ain't court ordered or anything like that. Like I do it on my own, and it's to give back. My parents and my family instilled in just making sure that you give back to people, and I was able to do some work on the side like by myself and all that, and I do some work with my job at the Cloverleaf Tavern where I get I get ingredients from Cisco donated for free, and then we execute it at our restaurant, and then we bring it down to St. A's in Newark. I was born in Newark. I was born at the Newark University Hospital. Never met my birth parents. Maybe that'll happen in the future, but I feel like knowing that I came from there, like the soil, not that I'm from Newark because I didn't grow up there, but just knowing like any of these people in these shelters, it could be a family member.
Yeah.
It could be a friend of a family member that like from my birth family and whatnot. And it's just important to make sure that I still stay grounded, that I still give back to the community. And last year I was actually able to bring my son to one of these things that we did with my job to feed the homeless. We fed about 200 people there, and just letting my son know like, hey, look, ahead of time, like you're going to see some stuff, you're going to see some people, they're going to look a little different. They might say some things, and just know that we both went through that same door and we both leave through that same door, but where they go and where we go are two different paths. And just know that the path that they're currently on right now is not one that we want to go on. It's a really tough one. So it's just more importantly just knowing like feeling feeling grounded and feeling blessed, knowing that we have some money, that we got a roof over our head, that we have the opportunity to eat wherever we want. We could, go to the movie theater whenever we want. We can go to the mall and buy clothes and do this kind of stuff within reason, within our budget. But there's other people that they just don't have that opportunity for whatever reason. We could do hypotheticals and all that, but just knowing that these people, they're in a certain situation where they need some help, and for us to be able to feed them, put a smile on their faces and all that, for that moment or whatever is important, man. And dude, I've been doing this for a long. I'm 40 now, man, and I've been doing this ever since I was young. I get people get pissed off and angry and mad or this and that, and I'm literally just giving you food,
Yeah.
and they're just pissed off, and you know what? You just brush it off, man, because at the end of this, I got a good life going on where this person is going through something mentally or whatever, maybe even physical. There's people in wheelchairs and whatnot too, like the sense of mobility might be limited, certain healthcare perks might not be available, and it's just tough. But being there for people, man, at the end of the day, like regardless of where we're at on views, like we're all human, and we all need to make sure that we're all taking care of one another and respect one another.
Just
So
just be kind. Just be a good person at the end of the day.
that's it, man. It's tough. Don't get me wrong, it's tough. Going through some like mental challenge stuff. But just having like a good spirit and thinking of being the person that's a glass half full, and knowing that things will get better. It might be tough right now, but just having that belief and the faith that it will get better, and not just thinking that and saying it, but actually doing action and doing things to help make it better, and getting a therapist helped out, talking to my friends and family members, and talking to my wife and have my kid around. Like, all these things helps get me through the dark times, and just knowing that what I'm going through, there's millions of people going through worse shit than I'm going through.
Yeah, that's for sure. 100%. 100%, man. Thoughts about Johnson and Wales? Fondest memories going there?
So it was good. And just for the record, I never graduated.
Okay.
I went for 2 years.
Okay. It's
Um
a 4-year school, right?
it's a 4 year school, but I
Okay.
just went for two. Um you let me know if you want me to clarify or anything.
Yeah. All
Um
good. All good.
so so basically Johnson Wells, like the best thing for me going there, it was probably like the first part
Okay.
of like going there and meeting the basketball coach, and actually being able to get on the team. Like I was on the team. It's a D3 school, but then after talking with the coach, my parents helped out too, and found out that I wasn't going to get any money to do it. I felt like I need to stick with the books, because I only went to Johnson Wales because of the money that was available, because it was almost $30,000 at the time back in 2002. It was like financially we didn't have it, and so I had to make sure that in order for me to keep these scholarships, that I was doing well in school. And I felt like with the practices and the traveling and all that for basketball, it would just it would take away from my learning, and knowing that I'm not getting any money or any more financial aid from them. It was just like, you know what? I'm not going. I'm at this is a D3 school. It's not like I'm going to be playing overseas or doing something else. They didn't have the D League and all that stuff yet. So it's like I knew that I wasn't going to go next level. And for other people that want to listen and hear, for me, I just knew that my purpose was to be a chef. Not saying like, hey, just give up because you're at D3 or whatever. And you could put in the work, and you could eventually be move up the rank, maybe go to D2, then go to D1 or whatever. But for myself, I just knew that I would have to put in a whole lot of work to be this particular basketball player. And
Yeah.
it just wasn't it for me. So it was going to classes, doing the work. And it was crazy where it was like I was there, I would see juniors and seniors there as me being a freshman, and I'll be like, yo, I'm better than them. Not in like a cocky way, but just
Right.
knowing like what they're talking about and what they're doing. I'm like, nah, they're not on the same level as me. And it's crazy to think that as a freshman, I was already thinking that. And I was
Yeah.
only thinking like that because of my previous schooling at Teterboro Tech. So I was already ahead of my time as a freshman, because a lot of the people that were freshmen with me back in 2002, they only for the most of them were there because they liked cooking at home. But
Okay.
none of them ever worked in a restaurant. When I was in high school, I worked at a couple of restaurants. So I already knew how the business was and whatnot, knew what to expect. And then when you go to Johnson Wales and you see that there's these master chefs where there's only at the time there was like 32 master chefs in the world, like, and we had a bunch of them at that time. Like that's a big deal, man.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
these college kids that was with me, because you had to be clean shaven at that time. I don't know what is now, but you had to be clean shaven going to class. They would take out a credit card and run it across your face. And
Wow.
if they heard something like, you know, some whiskers growing in, boom, you gotta go back to the dorm, shave up, get
Wow.
back. So it
Okay.
was like discipline. That's how it is. And I'm fine with that. I come from, you know, sports and all that kind of stuff where,
Sure.
you know, you gotta be focused and disciplined and all that. But that was like my, like, knowing that I was in the best culinary school in the world, that I was there basically on a free ride from winning cooking competitions in high school, knowing that I'm like, I felt like, now I might not have been, but I felt like I was one of the best as a freshman. Like that meant something. And after my second year of then coming back home, it was like, you know what? Let's get right into it. And within a year, I got promoted to sous chef, which was like pretty cool, man. It showed like, you know, I'm meant to be here. I might not have graduated,
Right.
but as long as you put in the work, you trust everything that you learned along the journey in high school, the couple years out in college, man, and then applying in the workforce, like you could be an executive chef. And once I became a sous chef, it's like, all right, what's the next step? And for me, it was like, all right, I need to be an executive chef. And then, you know, there was stepping stones and there was a process to eventually get there, but I was disciplined and ready for that opportunity.
If you could eat only one food for the rest of your life, what would it be? Your
Damn, man,
go-to.
I'm lactose intolerant, man, so this might sound crazy,
Yeah.
but pizza all day, man.
Pepperoni, cheese, any toppings on there?
You know, I like a good cheese, but pepperoni is like,
Your
that's it,
go-to?
man. Oh man, pepperoni is like, that's the one because it adds a little spice to it.
Okay.
It's texture wise, it's, you know, because if you cook it on the more well side, which I prefer my pizza to be a little bit on the crispier side,
Crispy
or as
side?
opposed to like
Yeah.
doughy. You have the crispy texture of the dough with the undercarriage on the bottom, and then with the cheese, it just kind of like then adds like smooth, but then you get a little bit of give from the pepperoni, and then you add flavor too. So for me, the pepperoni is like, that's the way to go. And being here in North Jersey, there's no shortage of good pizza spots, which is like, you know,
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Big Italian influences over here, which is like great. Um, you know, I lived in Manhattan just for a little bit, and I worked in New York City for no, yeah, because West Nyack and White Plains, that's more considered like upstate, right?
Upstate, Rockland County, Westchester. Yeah. Gateway to the city. Yeah.
Which is crazy because
Yeah.
I was in Ithaca a couple weeks ago, and that's considered upstate. So, so it's
It's like,
like,
which one is it, right?
yeah.
Western New York.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you
Yeah.
know. So for me, it's like the pizza game, like that's always been like my thing. It's just like a McFlurry from McDonald's. Like that messes my stomach up, you know,
Yeah.
talking about the lactose or whatever. But pizza, and people get surprised because I get asked that or whatever, and
Yeah.
people are expecting me to say like filet mignon with foie gras and caviar.
That's
Like,
what I was thinking.
yeah, yeah.
Let alone pizza. Who knew, right? Pepperoni
Nah,
pizza.
man. I'm a sucker for good pizza, man. Boardwalk pizza. You know, I could do that. Like we go to Mexico every summer, and you know the pizza there ain't the pizza here, but
Big
I'll still
difference.
get pizza over there, and I have my pizza spots in Mexico that I go to that are good. It's not like it's no what is it, no Domino's or anything like that, but there's some cats, man, over there. We go to the Puerto Aventuras area, which is about like 45 minutes south of Cancun, and over there, like the Caribbean side of Mexico, like those people know how to cook, man. Being in
Yeah.
the restaurant industry, you know, there's a lot of Mexicans, a lot of Hispanics that work in these kitchens, man, and they bring their own style too. And some of these pizzerias that you go to, you see some Hispanics in the back. So, you know, some of them have like a certain time period here with us, and then they'll bring some stuff back home or whatever, some tools, some things that they learn, and then open up their own spots. And you could taste some of that stuff in these areas. But
Yeah.
like for me too, I love pasta, like fried chicken, love me some good steak, Mexican food, Asian cuisine. Like I love Mediterranean food. That stuff's good. It's just like the I've been to Finland. I've been to Finland, and the food there was just it wasn't my thing, man. It was like
Okay.
a lot of like cold mayo salads, like potato salads, like fish and yogurt, which is like strange. No real spice or flavor in that kind of stuff. So, that stuff wasn't good, but I was in Greece. I was in Santorini, and the stuff there was incredible.
Right.
So, it's everywhere you go, it's all different.
Sure.
Africa, like Ghana, jollof rice. Jollof rice is spectacular. And then when I was working at the McCormick and Smiths in the city in Midtown, I worked. That was my first time working with Haitians. There was a lot of Haitians in that kitchen, and man, the food that they was making was
Yeah.
just incredible, man. Like the stewed chickens that they was making, like the beef, like it felt a little bit like some Hispanic type of cooking or whatever, knowing that Haiti and DR, they share an island. They got some similar crossover cuisine techniques kind of stuff. Like Haitian food, man, is spectacular, man. And
For
that was
sure.
like the first time that I really got to indulge in it was this is probably around 2005, 2006, which was like, an awesome time for me.
Right. That's awesome, dude. Life at the Cheesecake Factory. What made you apply, later becoming an EKM? Any mentors pulled you aside and took, to the next level?
So my before that, I worked at this place called Ed's Chowder House. It's no longer
Okay.
around. It was a part of the China Grill Corporation that had the owner Jeffrey Chatterow, who was on the shows and all that. Rocco DeSpirito, he had the restaurant too. Like there was a lot of popular chefs. The chef that I worked with, his name was Ed Brown. Ed Brown in New York City is known as like a seafood god. He's been on Iron Chef. He's wrote cookbooks and all that kind of stuff. So for me to open up a restaurant with him at the Empire Hotel right across from the Lincoln Center, like that was huge. Fine dining spot, and I was able to learn a lot there. But then it got to a point where it was like a lot of politics involved and whatnot, and I wanted to learn, and that opportunity wasn't there anymore for me. So I felt like I started looking around, and my wife was talking to me about the Cheesecake Factory,
Okay.
and coming from the college that I came from, and the boys that I had over there, I knew I was gonna get clowned on because coming from fine dining to then do like a fast casual kind of spot, like that was like a no go because we all joked about Cheesecake Factory being like some diner food and this and that. So I knew I was gonna get clowned on, but just like the opportunity, just looking at the clearer picture and all that, where it's like, you know what? When I was working at McCormick and Smith's back in 2004 in Hackensack, 2005, times that we were slow, the Hackensack location was like rocking. Like they were busy. They had a line out the door. And I was just thinking to myself, why the hell is it so busy? Like they're selling like simple, easy food. Like why is there such like a
A rush.
big put? You know what I'm saying? So I
Yeah.
and we're at McCormick and Smith's where we do fine dining seafood. So I'm like, why wouldn't people hit? So then I'm thinking like price point maybe or whatever, but we're in Bergen County. People got money here. So it's like, what are we doing wrong? We were still busy and all that, but that seed was planted in my head about the volume, and so I got all the fine dining. I've cooked with a bunch of chefs. I've met a bunch of celebrity chefs and everything like that. I've cooked for athletes and all that, and I'm like, what do I not have? I don't have that title of an executive chef, and I have speed like volume. Like I have that under my belt, but I don't have the Cheesecake Factory volume in my repertoire. And I was like, you know what? After talking to my wife, she's like, yo, you should try. I'm like, you know what? Yeah, let me do that. So I applied for them. I got an interview over the phone. But first, I don't know how it is now. You probably know, but before, because I was hired outside as a manager, I had to take a test, and it was like a math test. It had like reading stuff. It had a whole bunch of stuff. I passed it, and then I had a phone interview, and then I had an in-person interview with Louis Schwartz. God rest his soul. He was my area director for the Jersey and
New
the
York
West
locations.
Nyack
Yeah,
restaurant. Exactly,
yeah, yeah.
exactly. Really, really good dude, man. I learned a ton from him. But I had an interview with him, and then after that, he told me he would, they would contact me, and then I would do a walkthrough with Stefan, Chef Stefan David,
Destito, Destito.
Destito,
Mhm.
exactly. So I was waiting, and then I actually accepted a job. This place called the Urban Plum. This is in Seacog. So I accepted that job. The first day there, I'm working, and they were like, "Oh, this is actually going to be your pay." Like they changed it on me. I'm like, wait, what? And this is my first day, and I'm like, I don't think this is going to work out because we agreed on this, and now you're telling me
It's
my
this.
first day that is
Yeah,
this.
right.
So I actually quit, man.
Wow.
I
So you worked
quit.
one day in this place, one day.
I didn't even work one day.
Wow.
I showed up for work,
Right.
and then we had a conversation, and then I was like, this ain't for me. So I never even got into the kitchen, but I did like a cooking demo for them ahead of time where they were pleased, and I broke down numbers and everything like that, and they were pleased with what I had to offer. And I accepted, but then it was like there was something about Cheesecake Factory, man. There was something about that meeting that I had with Lewis, and this is also at a time too where I just got this apartment with my wife in Hackensack, and it's a nice spot too. It costs a lot of money, and in my head, like this relationship with my wife, and at the time, we were boyfriend girlfriend. We was just getting going, and I wasn't like it was a risk, man. It was a risk. It's like jumping in water, knowing that your feet ain't touching the ground and you're trusting yourself just to swim.
Yeah.
And I just felt like with me getting a call and saying, "Hey, you got your final interview with Chef Stefan over in Willowbrook." I felt like I was gonna nail it and they would hire me. Like I really felt confident in just selling it. And that's what I had in my head. I'm like, you know what, this place, all right, yeah, I could work here for less and get some money and this and that, but I'm gonna be looking for another job after that. And that in my resume, I've never done that. I've never
Yeah.
bounced around. I've always been consistent where I'm at. So I'm like, you know what? Urban Plum, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. Just this ain't gonna work. And literally the following day, I had my walkthrough with Stefan and Willowbrook and Sheldon, who was the EKM over there at the time. I was just talking with
Hackensack.
him.
Yeah, yeah.
Nah, he was in
He
Willowbrook.
was in Willowbrook before he came to Hackensack. Okay.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly. So
yeah,
he was
yeah.
in Willowbrook over there. Lockie was still in Hackensack. So I was, and as the exec, so I was in Willowbrook talking with Sheldon, talking with Stefan. I was talking to the cooks. I was talking to the dishwashers, just seeing how they felt about the place and the work and all that. And I was like, I went onto the line, or I went onto the line. I'm in suit tie kind of thing. I went onto the line and started cooking like right away. And this is a walk. This is like an introduction. I went onto the line and started cooking and talking to the guys and all that kind of stuff. Because in my head, I'm like, I want to just feel how it's like to work here, to be here, and whatnot. And I didn't apply for Willowbrook. I applied for Hackensack. But this training, whatever this walkthrough last interview thing, this is happening here in Willowbrook. I'm like, all right, I probably won't work with these people, but let me just see how it feels. Let me just, be on the line, check out the food and all that. And then I looked down the line and I saw Stefan and Sheldon talking like in a surprised way. And then I was told later on, like they've never seen a chef do that before, just like with the walk, just get on. Normally they just talk and look around and say certain things, but they've never seen nobody just get onto the line
Jump
in a
on the
suit and
line, start
tie.
cooking. Yeah,
Nah,
yeah.
man. I'm not even employed yet. So I did that just, like what I said, but also to like leave an impression where it's like, we gotta hire this guy.
Yeah.
Now, I got hired. I was very grateful, and I was told I would train in West Nyack, and after training, I would then work in Hackensack. At the time when I was in West Nyack training, it was Brandy. Brandy was the GM, and then the EKM was dude Mike,
Yeah.
and I felt good. I did well with the training and everything like that. The stuff went well. And then Andre Shu, he was the AGM there, and then Brandy, she got promoted. I think she went to Buffalo. Andre, he got promoted to the GM, and I'm like, I'm saying my goodbyes. Like, all right, I'm out. I'm going to Hackensack. I live in Hackensack. This is where I'm gonna be at. And then Andre just pitched to me about staying in West Nyack. That him and Mike liked how I was working and whatnot, and they wanted to keep me. And in my head, like, hell no, I don't want to stay here. Like,
You want to go
for
back
for
home?
what? I drive past Hackensack to get here. West
Yeah.
Nyack, that's in New York. So
Yeah.
now I'm being double taxed. I'm being taxed New
Yeah.
Jersey and New York. I have to pay a toll on the way home, not even counting gas and wear and tear on my car and all that kind of stuff. Like, plus the time to get there and everything, because it's not just a 10-minute ride. So Shu, which I'm grateful for, Andre Shu, he was the one that just pitched to me like I'd have an easier time to learn, to develop, and to make it to an executive chef, because that's why I decided to join Cheesecake Factory, because I saw a way without the whole political stuff, where if I just let my work show, if I take these tests, I do the right thing, I can get promoted up the ranks and then be an executive chef. And I felt like that's the way. And that's what basically was like pitched to me, about West Nyack being that easy way to do it. And at that time there was like 20 chefs within the country, within Cheesecake Factory, where at that time back in 2010, they were a bunch of restaurants that needed to be open, but they were missing chefs. They were missing executive kitchen managers and all that. So they had a ton of front of the house, but they didn't have a lot of the back of the
Back of
house.
the
So
house. Yeah.
exactly. So they made this thing called a fast track program. It was like an acceleration thing where I was the first to be a part of it. And it was this program designed to like fast track me through this whole stuff. Um Now there was I'm not gonna like throw people under the bus, but there was some haters, I could say, that didn't really want to help me, because they felt like I was a threat to them because of how fast I was moving, and because I was in Calabasas. It felt like all the time, because that's where the headquarters is. I was in Calabasas before Drake and Kim Kardashian and all them was talking about it. Like we was already out there,
Yeah.
and it was like multiple trips and fast track programs and different development things. And I was doing good with menu development too, like I was putting stuff on. And Lewis was the one that would give me recognition, because there were items that I helped put on that got me some buzz, man. So for that, I'm grateful for Lewis. But for the development piece, man, it was just so important to just apply myself and just not worry about certain people above me feeling like threatened. It was just important for me to just put the work in. And that's what I did. Like, my thing there, it wasn't to learn the food, because I felt like Cheesecake Factory, they were just so militant about drilling in the recipes. You got to memorize this. You got to memorize this. You got to memorize this. And to their credit, that's one of the reasons why they're so successful, is just that style and whatnot. But for me, I knew I wasn't going to be there for a long time. And for me, I felt like I had to learn the admin stuff from the front of the house standpoint, because I want to learn the business. I didn't care about learning the recipes, how to make a marinara sauce or how to make a balsamic dressing. I already know how to make all that. This is just learning how to make it their way, which is cool, which I knew how to do, but I wasn't gonna like stress myself out with new menu rollouts, having to like really break down these ingredients and these techniques and all that kind of stuff. Like, I'll learn it as we release it. I'll make sure that the people cooking it know how to do it. I'll be the one that will see the final product and make sure that it goes out properly, make sure that things are temp properly, make sure they look right, garnish right, clean place, the whole. I'll make sure all that. But I got to make sure that the business side, that we're ordering the right things, that we're portioning stuff out properly, like the techniques, like that's the stuff that was really driving me to see the labor control. Like, for me, I felt like what will make you more profitable if you're losing sales? It ain't teaching the people the recipes where, all right, you're over a half ounce of cream on each recipe and you make maybe 10 of these a day. Like, for 5 ounces of cream. No, 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 no. It's about knowing when to phase people out, as Cheesecake said, or to cut people, cut
Yeah.
staff. If you could get a staff member out an hour early and they're making $15 an hour, that heavy cream don't mean anything, man.
Yeah.
Like
Hit
that
those
that
out
that
times. Yeah.
but this is what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Like, this is the stuff that I was focused on because I was looking at the labor budget. I was looking at the food costs. And because doing all that is how I was able to like really go fast because our numbers started turning around and they started doing really good. And then when I had the test, when Stefan came, when Lewis came, when they started talking to me, I'm breaking these numbers down. And Shu, he couldn't stay. He had the opportunity to open up
With the
Yonkers.
Yonkers Ridge Hill. Yeah. Oh nine.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So he was great, man, and really good dude. Family, he's a family man. His kids are growing up really big. They're all really great people. But Rob, man, Rob Massey, man, that was the
Big mentorship to you, right?
dude. He was the guy, man. He was the guy that really like broke things down for me in a way that I could like really understand and make a difference. And it sucked that he was never able to make it to GM, and they missed out on him. But for me, I could just talk about my experience with him. Like, yo, Rob was huge, man. Just being able to like make me understand these numbers in a way that I couldn't really understand them before. Stephen Hunter, he helped me out too. Really, really good dude. Broke things down for me as well. But man, that like Rob, he's definitely 101.
Yeah, for sure. Would you do anything differently going back in time if you had to maybe do a do over? Anything different you would change?
At the cheesecake,
Yeah, experience wise.
you know what? Everything happens for a reason, and I really didn't want to stay in West Nyack to just to be 100% transparent. I didn't want to stay there. I wanted to work in Hackensack. I felt like I would have learned a lot from Lockie there. I felt like, and then knowing that Lockie got promoted, and then knowing that Sheldon then went in there, like Sheldon, he's the big bro, man. Like, knowing about Sheldon and his background, just coming here from Jamaica, starting in Hackensack as a dishwasher and making it all the way to EKM, and then being a senior too at that position. Like, yo, man, that's just American dream, hard work, and all that. And I wanted to be there, but I had to be a little selfish and help and be there for the people that helped me. So like Cheesecake Factory, Nino, Oscar
Oscar.
Osorio,
Yeah. Jackson.
Marcos, Jackson, Andreas,
Yeah.
like Raphael, Anna, Adriana. Like, there was a ton of people there, man. That, oh man, who's it's not Mario. Dude, there was just a ton of Elio. There was just a ton of people, man, that were just, they would listen. Like, if I told them to do something, I wasn't coming in a hot direction. I
They would
wasn't
do it.
coming at them angry. I was just coming, just, hey, what up? Need such and such. And they would do it because it's one of those things where in corporate, especially at Cheesecake Factory, where it's like, hey man, I need help here, but I also need you to punch out an hour early. Like, these are tough conversations that you have to have, and you're gonna have to have them when it's slow. The Januaries come, the Septembers come. It's you had a slow week or something, and you got to worry about cutting down some hours or whatever. Like, these are conversations that you have to have, but the conversations don't have to be like all that bad. It's just working on a way and just being human, just talking to these people and letting them know, like, the business side of it is not personal, it's just business and all that. And when you talk to them and treat them like people and just not saying punch out, I don't care, whatever, just sending them away like they're expendable and stuff like that. Like that's not a right way to treat them. And for me, because I did a good job of just always being there for my staff, and my staff got my back, I got their back. Like it felt hard to go to Hackensack because of that. Um, and it was almost like unfinished business for me, where it's like, all right, I started here. The people above me want me here. Like the people that I was training with kept talking like, "Hey, you staying here? You staying here?" I'm like, "Nah, I'm out of here, man. Going back to Hackensack. I ain't staying here." Like just knowing that everybody wanted me there, like I'm like, you know what? Hackensack is busy. They keep telling me how busy it is. Like I'm looking at their numbers, and there's not gonna be a lot of time for me to have some downtime for me to get on the computer and start banging some stuff out. So I was like, you know what? Let me stay. All right, I'll rock with y'all. I'll rock with y'all, and that was the best thing, man. I wouldn't change. I wouldn't change anything, man. It was just, it was what it is, and having some haters above me, man, like that only just added fuel to the fire, man. It just was like, you know what, I did this without any help above me, in my restaurant. It was, I wouldn't say it was tough. I just felt like I had a little bit more support, but at the end of the day, you just got to think about the people above you, and certain situations that they're in. It's just like, hey, everybody got some stuff going on. It's just, help me out a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just give me, throw me a couple of gems. But if you don't want to throw me some gems, that's fine. Just let me do my thing. At least I'm not, messing with the operations. I'm actually making it better. You know what I'm saying? So with all that, able to get promoted and being able to be an executive chef, and for me to be able to work in West Nyack and being able to work in White Plains, like amazing opportunity. White Plains met a bunch of athletes, the Knicks. I know you met a couple of them.
Yeah.
Like I was the first to cook for Christoph Porzingis when we drafted him. Came into the restaurant, it looked like he was on stilts. I was cooking for him and his brother Yannick, which was like pretty cool. Went over the table, chopped it up or whatever, and then shortly after that, I was out. I left. I moved back to Jersey, man.
That's it.
Started my career over again.
Your fandom for the Jets off the charts. How did you become a fan of the Jets? I know you love them. Bleed
Yeah,
green.
yeah. So, like dating back to what we was talking about earlier about me doing football, in eighth grade, like I grew up watching them because they always had like the 1 o'clock game. It was never really like a prime time thing. They always had the early games. So I always saw like the Boomer Esiason and Neil O'Donnell, like those are the quarterbacks that I saw. And it was them and it was the Giants. But the Giants, I watched their games, but I never was like, yeah, this is my team. Like my dad was like, we're Jet fans. I'm like, all right, cool. It wasn't until I want to say this might have been like my sophomore or junior year. That was the first time I went to a Jets game, and it wasn't even a regular game. It was like a preseason game. Like we played the Baltimore Ravens, and we got crushed. Like this is a preseason. We're getting crushed. I'm like, damn, this is crazy. But the thing is, like, we saw good times too. Like we saw Vinny Testaverde. Like we saw Mark Sanchez take us to back AFC chips and not get over the hump, but at least bring us there. Where I saw some stuff, but since then we haven't been back.
Yeah, it's been a while.
15,
It's
15
been a
years,
while. It's
man.
been a while.
Dude,
Yeah.
15 years. We haven't made the playoffs. 15
Yeah.
years. We haven't made
15
the
years.
playoffs.
Wow.
There's Dolphin fans that get on us like, ha ha ha. We actually have they haven't won a playoff game since like 2002, 2003. The
Jeez.
Dolphins won a playoff
One.
game. They've been in the playoffs, but they haven't
Right.
won.
You haven't won one. Yeah. Yeah.
So that they could talk a smack. And it's crazy how we got more wins than playoff wins than them, and we haven't even been in the playoffs in 15 years.
It's
It's
incredible.
crazy.
Incredible.
But the thing is, like, I'm a loyal dude. Like at the end of the day, like if you rock with me, I rock with you. If you got my back, I got yours. Just as long as you don't do no funny stuff. As soon as I see some funny stuff, then I'm like, I can't really rock with you like that. We could be cool or whatever, but at least on my end, it ain't really gonna be the same like that. So when it comes to the sports stuff, man, like the Jets, just I was a season ticket holder, like on and off kind of deal, and I was seeing ticket holder, the last couple of years and all that. But this past season, it's just with what Woody Johnson did by firing Robert Saleh. Like
Was he the problem, Kevin? Was he the problem?
everyone was the problem.
Okay.
Now, for me, I don't think he was the main problem of like I don't think it was warranted him getting fired because he fired us after the Vikings game in London and the political ties that Woody had because he was ambassador over there during Trump's term and all that. Like he built relationships and all that and felt embarrassed because he lost and did a rush decision because here's the thing: we played the Bills our following I believe it was what was it, Monday
Monday
night?
Night Football. You were at that
Exactly.
game. You were at that
I
game.
was
That punt
at
return.
yeah.
Yeah, I remember
Word,
that.
word, word,
Yeah,
word.
yeah.
So the punt return that was 2 years ago. That was when
2 years
Rodgers
ago.
went down. That was the 9/11 game. But I'm talking like this previous year after the Vikings game when he got fired, then we played the Bills. We were fighting for first place,
Yeah,
which is
yeah.
crazy. We're even though we were 2-3, we were still fighting for first place, and we could have been 3-2 if Greg Zerline made his field goal against Denver.
Greg the leg.
Unbelievable.
Yeah,
The previous year,
yeah,
Greg the Leg hit a walk off
yeah.
against the Commanders, and if the Commanders would have won that game, no Jaden Daniels.
Wow.
How
As
crazy the
crazy
world
as that.
works.
Yeah, it's
And
crazy.
that was on
Crazy.
Christmas. That was on Christmas Eve
Yeah,
2 years ago or
2 years
whatever.
ago.
But
Yeah,
I'm just saying, like the Jets, we held Bo Nix to 60 passing yards when we played Denver. All right,
yeah.
60 yards, and we still lost.
Still lost. Yeah, this season.
So
Yeah,
that definitely falls on the coach. I'm not excluding Robert Saleh at all. I'm just saying like I felt like the previous year when Rodgers went down, we still won 7 games with Zach Wilson. All right.
yeah.
So we won 5 this year with Rodgers, and our defensive line was depleted. It was bad. Our offensive coordinator Hackett was god awful. I mean,
Yeah,
there's a reason why Denver's doing so good right now is because they don't have Hackett there. Hackett was a problem. He got fired. He was
yeah,
there for 1 season, got fired, got canned. You put Sean Payton in, and then he's holding the players accountable. He's yelling at Russell Wilson's face.
yeah. Got him out of there.
That's
Yeah,
got him out. Got him out. Hey, if you're
yeah,
not going to buy in, that's fine. I'll get
yeah,
somebody else. But he made him got him to the playoffs.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So for me, it's like we had a lot of problems. I felt like our GM didn't do the greatest job of on the fly stuff. Like we eventually got a field goal kicker, but that was too late. Our Greg the Leg cost us 3 games by him missing field goals. So the damage was done.
Yeah.
Defensive line depleted. Your guy, Hassan Reddick, like that was an awful trade.
That was terrible.
He held out. That totally handicapped us. And then he came back, and the crazy thing is, me and you combined had the same amount of sacks as Hassan Reddick did this season. He had none,
It's crazy.
which is
Zero.
pathetic,
Big
man.
fat
Pathetic,
zero. Bagel.
pathetic. So it's tough. I'm
It's a
saying
lot
a
of
lot here,
things.
but it's tough. I'm a Jet fan. I stick with them, but when it comes to like now being like brought back in, like all right, we got Aaron Glenn, like okay, I
Yeah.
feel good, but I'm not gonna give you another 5 grand for
Yeah.
next season to be a season ticket holder. Like I need to see it, man. Y'all need to put that effort on the field. Y'all need to give me some wins. If I don't
Thoughts.
see wins, I'm not paying.
I hear you. I can't fault you for that. Thoughts on Aaron Rodgers? What's he gonna do? Is he going? Is he staying? Is he gonna retire? What should he do?
So say it again. What should he do, or what do I want? Like
Yeah, what do you want to see? Fans, what do Jet fans want Aaron Rodgers to do?
where I don't know how split we are, but it's not 100%. We want Rodgers back.
Okay.
For me,
It's like 60-40, 70-30.
maybe 70-30 with having him come back.
Okay.
Because here's the thing: what's the better option?
Yeah.
What you can't say, oh, trade for Patrick Mahomes, that ain't happening. You can't say,
Yeah.
oh, trade for Josh, that ain't happening. Then you look at the free agents. Is Sam Darnold coming back here? Nah. We treated him
That
horribly.
ship has sailed, right?
That's gone, man. That's
Yeah.
gone. Zach Wilson, we ain't bringing his ass back
Yeah.
because we got Muji. We got him from Denver, who was the assistant over there. He got Zach over there. Please don't bring his ass back. All right,
Right.
leave Zach alone. I'm just saying, like when you look at all of the options there, Justin Fields. I was the one who wanted Justin Fields over Zach Wilson or whatever, but uh I don't feel like Justin Fields is the answer. I feel like he'll be a good if we move on from Rodgers and bring in Justin Fields. I feel like it'll be good, but what's the long term plan? Like, are we banking
Yeah,
that Justin Fields is gonna turn into Sam Darnold, is gonna turn into Geno Smith? Like, I'm not sold on that. I'm not sold on our offensive staff being able to do that. Like, you gotta be logical. Like, we're not in the draft position where we can get Cam Ward or Shadir.
yeah. Shadur
I'm not
Sanders. Yeah,
sold on Jackson Dart at 7.
right.
Like at 7, that's like too rich for me. Maybe in a trade back scenario, whatever, but at 7, that means that person got to start, and you're not starting Jackson Dart next
Yeah,
year. You know what I'm saying? So it's almost like we do have Travis, Jordan Travis on our team from Florida State, who had that brutal leg injury, and he didn't even practice with us all last year. He was like basically redshirted. We don't know what he's gonna do, and we can't bank on him having like a crazy season. Like, he's a backup, so I really don't see any good options in the draft, especially where we're at. Free agency, I don't really see much that's gonna, you know, do better than Rodgers had 28 touchdowns
yeah.
for us this year with 11 interceptions. We Zach Wilson's career with us wasn't didn't even combine for 28 touchdowns.
Yeah.
So it's like there's not a better option out there. And I really feel like with Rodgers, it's unfinished business.
Okay.
It's like this he had 28 touchdowns off of an Achilles injury. He's only going to get better next year. Not going to say he's going to scramble like he's Josh Allen, but with that injury, with him going to be 42 next year, you got to feel like his body's going to feel a little bit better. All right. The weapons that we had too, like our run game coordinator was god awful. All line Keith Carter, who was just god awful. A combination of him and Hackett, like doing this stuff, it was a recipe for disaster, man.
Yeah.
Like Brees Hall, the first 2 seasons, you're looking at him like, yeah, he's gonna be crazy. Fantasy football, everyone was looking at him as like the number 2, number 3 pick.
I picked him. Did nothing all year. All year.
You know,
Off year.
so it's like what happened when you watch the game. You can't just hand the ball and tell him to run straight. Like he's not Derrick Henry. Like
Yeah.
you think he's not Montgomery. You think he's just gonna run up straight and barrel a bunch of people over.
Yeah.
Okay, he's 6 foot 6'1". He's a little big for his size. He got some will. You got to create space.
Yeah.
You gotta run off guard, off tackle.
Of
Or
course.
these dive plays, no counters, no passing in the flats. Like
Yeah. Gotta
it was
be.
it was bad. It was bad, man. Just the whole offensive scheme to do it with Brees, knowing that he is a weapon, like not to utilize him at all was just an embarrassment, man.
Hard to watch. Thoughts on Aaron Glenn coming in here from Detroit, former Jet, former #1 pick for the Jets. Can he make you guys relevant again? Change the culture? It's going to take some time, right? Year 1, year 2, year 3, possibly going forward.
So with Glenn, like, dude, that defense that he had at the end of the season, it felt like it was just practice squad cats. Like
Yeah,
his defense was just depleted.
depleted. Yeah, yeah.
And he didn't have much, and people are like, "Oh, look what Washington did this and that." Dude, he literally had nobody, man. It was just surviving, basically.
14 guys were out, and you can't. Nothing you can really do with
Come
that.
on, man. Come
Yeah.
on. Now, granted, every team has injuries. I get it. Hutchinson was out. Like, you got a lot of people out. It was tough, but he built a culture there, which was pretty good. He built it with Dan Campbell. Um, I forgot the offensive coordinator there. He just got a job.
What's his name? Oh my gosh, running it. Brian, is it Brian Johnson? Brian
Yeah,
Johnson
Ben
at the Bears.
Johnson.
Ben
Ben
Johnson. Ben
Johnson.
Johnson. Ben
Yep.
Johnson. Yeah.
That team right there, well coached. When you got Campbell, you got Johnson, I felt like what Glenn's doing, because he picked some of those coaches and brought them onto the staff. I feel like he's gonna pick up right away, because here's the thing. 7 this past year that we were in the lead going into the fourth quarter. We had the lead in 7 of them.
7 times.
7 of those games. So listen, coaching coaching definitely messed us up, but we got talent. We got talent on this roster. It just wasn't utilized properly. And for us to be able to have the lead,
Yeah.
it shows
It
something, man. It
shows.
shows that we got some guys. It's just the coaching,
Right.
put them in the right situations and all that. Coach properly. There was a game against the Rams this year. We didn't even punt the ball. We went for on our fourth down like 5 times. Like, what are
Right.
we
What are you
doing?
doing? Yeah, it's hard to watch, man. It's hard to watch. He's pay out,
Oh,
spend all that money. It's hard. It's tough to watch.
in the cold.
Being a
And
lifelong
like
fan,
it's
you're freezing
like
and you're
like
and you're
come like
watching.
come on, man.
Yeah.
My Sunday's a shot. I'm going here in this shot. I'm bringing my son. I'm bringing my wife, and we're watching. It's like come on, man.
Yeah. Your son, but these amazing signs at the games. All I want for Christmas is
I appreciate you.
it's a
Yeah,
Jet
yeah.
win. I mean, whose ideas were those? I mean, everybody stopped and said hello. It was pretty
Word. Yep.
cool.
Yep. Yep.
How awesome was that experience?
So yeah, so we did it not this past year, the year before.
Okay.
We had the Jets played the Dolphins for the first Black Friday game. And that like it's just an awful game, man. The
Yeah.
fail Mary, like
Yeah.
the Todd Bowles couldn't even throw it 40 yards into the end zone for hell. It actually threw it to the 2 yard line. They took it back for a touchdown. It's like
Oh
the
man.
first time, only us, only the Jets, man. Like
Only the
we
Jets.
we get it, we get it,
Yeah.
we get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the night before we're in the Poconos, and I'm there with my brother-in-law who's a Jet fan, my nephew, my wife, all of us, we're all out there. And we were talking about like, all right, we're all going to the game. I got passes for us to go onto the field before the game and whatnot. And we were talking about, hey, let's do a sign or whatever. So my brother-in-law and his son, they wrote a sign that said, there's no such thing as a fake Jet fan, which is 1,000% true. Like, there's no bandwagon Jet fans. Like, there's nobody who's like, yeah, I want to be a Jet fan because of what? Like, there's
Yeah.
that doesn't exist, man. If you come across somebody wearing some Jet gear that can talk about the Jets, they're real ones. They're real fans, real people. Those are some people that you want to talk to and break some stuff down with them, because for them to stay through all this stuff, man, still feeling comfortable wearing
All the
some stuff.
hardships, the pain, suffering. Yeah.
Dude, a lot of people just started
Yeah.
realizing that we go through stupid stuff when
Yeah.
when Rogers went down for 9/11.
Oh, that was
Like,
terrible. Yeah.
dude, I paid for 2 seasons that year when I was seasons. I paid for two. I paid for that season and last season. And I just, so when he went down, I just saw my money just vanish into the sky.
Poof.
I'm like, I got robbed. I'm like, I gotta see Zach Wilson again.
Yeah. You're like,
Like,
this
this is
can't be
crazy.
real
I thought
life.
he was gone. I thought that was it. We got Rodgers, all this hype,
Yeah.
hard knots, everything. Like, this is it. Nah, man. 4 plays in, done. And that
Yeah.
just changed everything.
Yeah.
But the sign, like my son, he wanted the sign, and so we would just walk around. And when we was walking around, I was just filming. I was filming his interaction. I couldn't post everything because there was some people that
Right.
was like brutal. Like, they wasn't even talking smack to my son. They were just talking smack to the sign.
Oh, okay.
Like,
Okay. Because you
like
can
just
really can't get
angry.
mad at a kid, right? He's a
Nah, you
kid. He's
can't. You
innocent.
can't. You
Yeah.
can't. And I'm
Yeah.
I'm there with him, so it's not like
Yeah.
they
He's
they
by
going
himself.
crazy or anything like that.
Yeah, of course.
But we did that last year a couple times, and then we did it this past season once or twice. And he was getting a lot of love this season
Caught
because a
fire.
lot of the people remember from last year.
Yeah.
And we posted up on my social medias where some people saw whatever, and it was cool, man. For him to walk around, people like, oh, I remember you, oh, I remember you, and want to take pictures with him and everything like that.
That's
He's
awesome.
on YouTube as well, doing his thing, but like in this Jet community, in this Jet circle, like he's getting recognized, which is like awesome.
That's pretty dope. Describe Fireman Ed. How would you describe him?
Yo, my man's intense. I met him a couple times. The dude's intense, and for all the right reasons, man. Like, like the passion. He was Spike Lee before Spike Lee. Like, Fireman Ed, he's somebody that represents the hardworking American, the hardworking blue collar dude who's providing for the family, who got enough money set aside to go to the games, to spend time with family and friends, and no matter good, bad, whatever, just toughen through it. He does get some slack at times for people saying that he turned his back on the team. For that, like I feel for him because for me right now, I didn't renew my season tickets for next year. So you're gonna say that I'm fake, I'm
Yeah,
phony, whatever. Like, just comes to a point in time where it's like, hey, I gotta spend my money in a better way. It'd be different if I was seeing like wins and playoffs and I would be able to make money. But there was times these past couple of seasons that I couldn't even sell my tickets. Like I couldn't make it. I couldn't sell them. I was just giving them away,
wow,
which is like, I was losing money. It sucks. Like if the team's not doing good, the value goes below face value.
right, for
So
sure,
even if I could sell my tickets, I'm not even selling it to break even. Like,
exactly.
it's tough.
Favorite Jet of all time? You got a top five favorite Jet of all time?
Yeah, man. Top five. Oh, wow. Thanks for doing that for me.
Yeah,
Keyshawn Johnson. He's like,
throw me the
he's
damn ball, huh?
he's one of my favorites, man. Like in high school, I wore long sleeves for the football season because of him. He was known for having the long sleeves on. Wayne Corbett, Curtis Martin, Chad Pennington, and Revis. Revis is my number one.
Okay,
And I don't want to say it's close to love hate because he did win a championship with the Patriots. He was difficult for like three in a row off seasons of like holding out, which was like a little tough. And then he got injured because he wasn't there. But when it comes to like just watching him, and I was able to watch him live and see like the last game that was played in Giant Stadium, we played the Bengals and it was cold. It was cold as hell. That was one of the coldest games I've ever been to.
yeah,
And to see him on one side of the field with Chad Johnson and just literally locking this dude up all game. He had no safety help. He had no other like cover help. It was just one on one, and he was locking this dude up. And incredible. And then you go on to see him doing the same stuff with Megatron, Randy Moss. Randy Moss caught him one time, but he did a good job with him. Roddy White, like Andre Johnson. That year was just an incredible run that he had, just with Marquise Colson just locking down all these receivers, Marvin Harrison, like Revis is that dude. And I said it before Sauce took the field in his rookie season. I told my brother-in-law, I'm like, yo, Sauce is gonna be better than Revis. Now, Sauce had a bad year this season. He missed tackle opportunities and whatnot. He doesn't come up with the turnovers, doesn't come up with the interceptions and all that kind of stuff. But when it comes to covering, like he wasn't mistaken as an all pro the first two seasons. He made the first team all pro. Like that hasn't been done for like
a long
40,
time.
50 years. Yo,
Yeah,
long time, man.
yeah, yeah.
But with his height, his length, his speed, he's good. He's good. The tackling will come as he learns because that's something that Revis was so great at doing was just getting in there, just going for
Yeah,
the legs, just knocking the ball out. Picks like Revis would always turn around at the right point and get the ball at his highest point. Like he was known for that. That's why first ballot Hall of Famer, undisputed. He
for
he
sure.
he was he was that guy. But I feel like with the better coaching, because with losing Robert Saleh, Saleh's from Detroit, Sauce is from Detroit as well. Saleh drafted Sauce. I felt like when Saleh was fired, that the fire wasn't there anymore, and he was just kind of playing whatever. It was just like kind of pouting or whatsoever. Like I felt like that affected him, and a lot of Jet fans were angry. A lot of Jet fans stopped calling him Sauce and was just calling him Ahmad and all that. And
Mm.
for me, like I can't excuse all the good that he did the last two seasons. He had an off year. He had some bad games. Like I get that, and because of that, I give him a pass. He this past off season he signed a ball. My son's Jets football. He signed that. He signed my yearbook as well. Um, so it's kind of tough to like go against him, but I can be critical and say that he didn't have a great season this year, but to talk smack and say that he can't rebound, I don't think is justified. I feel
Right.
like with Aaron Glenn, who you said it, he was drafted by the Jets. He was a cornerback. He was an All Pro. He did have a bunch of interceptions. I think he had like 8 touchdowns, 8 or 10 touchdowns. Like,
Pick six. Yeah. Took it to the house. Yeah.
dude,
Yeah.
he was that guy, man. He
Yeah.
was
For
that guy.
sure.
Aaron Glenn was awesome, man. The
For
number
sure.
31, man. As a player, he was it. But I feel like Aaron Glenn with the defense and all that, I feel like he'll be able to turn this thing around.
For sure. How do you guys feel about Rex Ryan? Favorite head coach in the Jet history? Rex Ryan? Sexy Rexy over there? How do you guys feel about Rex?
Yo, Rex is funny, man.
Yeah.
AKA Mr. Feet.
Mr. Feet,
Like,
yeah, yeah. He's got some fetishes, man.
yeah, man.
Yeah,
Well, he was the one that took us to the two AFC
yeah.
championship games, man. And he played with this fire. Granted, like the offensive line that he had with Faneca, DeBrickashaw, Mangle, like he had some beasts, all pro Hall of Fame type cats over there. And with the line, and then the defense was solid. You had weapons, and he just needed Mark Sanchez just to manage the game, which he did.
Yeah.
Mark Sanchez didn't light it up, but he managed the game. I'm a Mark Sanchez fan. He did his thing. It was just towards the end. They stopped investing. They stopped investing in wide receivers. When you have a guy named Jeremy Curley being your leading receiver, that's a problem.
Yeah.
You you didn't have nobody else. We tried with Plexico, tried with Braylon, Brandon Marshall. He got some cats in, but that was too late, man.
Yeah.
Didn't help
Sure.
out. But Rex, he did his thing, man. He brought the entertainment, he brought the juice to the game. The thing that I didn't want him to be our quarterback, our
Coach again this time around.
Yeah, just because I felt like he was just gone for too long, man.
Yeah, out of the game for a long time.
I didn't think it would be the best.
Fit.
Yeah, it's not like a Joe Gibbs situation with Washington, where he won the chip and then came back and
Right.
kind of the playoffs. Like it wasn't that. I don't know. It just didn't feel right. I really wanted an opportunity to at least get John Gruden in the building to see if we could get him as a coach. Now, I know he got some stuff with the NFL or whatever, but at least just to bring him in for an interview to see where he's at, because he has
Right.
a great offensive mind. He's very disciplined. I felt like with the Raiders or whatever, just the team around there just wasn't built the right way for him to succeed. And obviously he had the issues or whatever. But him, McCarthy, like I really wanted McCarthy. I wanted McCarthy over Gase. When we hired Gase, I thought that was a bad move. And obviously it showed that he's one of the worst Jet coaches of all time.
Gates is terrible.
Awful.
Yeah.
But yeah, Rex, I wish him well. He's a good analyst. He cares. He wants to, he's a Jet. He wanted this job really badly, but I feel like, even though Aaron Glenn wasn't my number 1 or 2 option, I do feel like we do have a good coach right now. But at this point, you got to win games. I don't care about the talk. I don't care about the sayings, the slogans, whatever, talking all this stuff or whatever. I don't care what kind of, you could change the uniforms, you could change the logo. I don't care what y'all do. You got to change these losses and translate it to wins.
It's all about W's.
But, man.
Better season than 25. Jets or Giants?
Oh, Jets by far, man. Just by far. The
How
Giants,
many,
man.
How many wins you guys got this year coming up? What do you think? Over under.
So I'm at 9-8.
Okay, that's fair.
I'm at 9-8.
Okay.
I don't think that's good enough to make it into the playoffs. I feel like you got to at least hit 10, but it's hard to really give a really good number at this point when we're not 100% sure who the quarterback is. Once we understand that, once we get through the draft, obviously that will change a little bit. But currently, right now, the Giants don't have a quarterback.
Yeah.
So you can't tell me Tommy Cutlets, DeVito, whatever, tomatoes, whatever you want to call him. His parents come to our restaurant, so I'm not gonna disrespect him like that.
Okay.
But you can't tell me that he's gonna give you at least 6, 7 wins by himself. There's no way, man, because he didn't do it this year. So that's why I have the Jets being better than the Giants. And they have been the last couple of years. You know, you could just look at the record and the draft order, and that's your proof right there. But if you're telling me right today, and just with the rosters that both teams have, there's no way that the Giants have a better roster than the Jets.
Does Mahomes, it's crazy because is NFL rigged? Do you think 70% of the fans think so? Does Mahomes get calls, others don't? Or
With,
it's just like we're overthinking things too much.
with any good team, you're gonna get some calls that are favorable for you. That's just kind of how it goes. And with Patrick Mahomes, he's gonna get more roughing the passer calls than a Bo Nix. You know, he'll get more of them than a Geno Smith.
Yeah.
He'll get these calls because of who he is, right? And the NFL knows that he's like the face right now. He's the face of the NFL. So for that, you're gonna get some favorable calls, but is it rigged? I don't have any proof for that. Are there missed calls that go the other team's way? Yeah, like we all see it. But at the end of the day, he still has to throw the ball. The other team still has to defend it. You know, the other team, has the opportunity to score on their defense. And what Spagnuolo is doing over there with their defense, he's put them in position to win and
Yeah.
do well. Where Mahomes just has to manage. Mahomes is also doing this without like a true number one wide receiver, without a true number one running back. It's kind of like patchy kind of stuff. You get Pacheco back, but he was out for 7-8 games this year. Kareem Hunt ain't the same Kareem Hunt when he was originally on this team before. Like Travis Kelsey's still good, that's still a weapon. But when you talk about like a Tariq Hill, you don't have him. You don't Juju Smith Schuster, like he helps before. Like you don't really have a true number one. So I really feel like that they're putting in the work. They're deserving of being where they're at right now, and to beat the Bills, like they did it what they were supposed to do. The Kincaid, he dropped a
That
couple
pass,
catches, man. You know
yeah,
what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
you're gonna blame the refs on that? Like what that's on you. At the end of the day, you got to make sure that you're bringing the ball, just like Mark Andrews.
yeah.
You can't get mad at somebody else. You gotta come up with the ball.
Thoughts on that first down, that Josh Allen play? Was that a first down? Bad spot?
Ooh, it's a good question. It looked like it was a bad spot.
Yeah.
Um,
Looked like a first down to me.
It's tough, I guess, on the angle or whatever, and where you stop it and all that kind of stuff. Like
Yeah.
it could go either way, man. It could go either way. If you ask me, like in the moment, it looked like a first,
Right.
and then later on, you look at it like, maybe not, but you could still say it is. It just depends on how you look at it.
Yeah.
I'm that's not something I'm a debate against you, because it was really close, man. At the end of the day,
It was close.
it was close, man.
Super Bowl 59 on Sunday, Eagles Chiefs. How do you see this one playing out? Who you got in this one?
Chiefs, man. Chiefs. That's who I think is gonna win. That's who I want to win. My bad. Don't be mad at me. You're my guy. It's just like
I was
it
hoping you
was.
would say Eagles, but it's okay. You're still my guy.
Here's the thing, man. I got substance to it, and you could blame the Eagle fan base. When we played you guys last year, you at home at our building.
You guys won that game, right?
Correct. You guys were undefeated, and we were in the parking lot. I was with my wife. We did our own little thing, tailgating by ourselves and just chill. We spoke to a couple people or whatever. On our way in, these Eagle fans just talking all kinds of smack, like this is their place, like just out of the blue. Like I'm not approaching no Eagle fan. Hey, we lost our quarterback already. All right, we're 2-3.
Right.
Like you guys are undefeated. We know we're gonna lose. I'm not gonna talk no smack to no Eagles fan. Like for what? Like, oh yeah, we're better than. Nah, y'all won a Super Bowl a couple years ago. Like
Right.
what? Like I have no place to talk any kind of smack. But y'all just out just chirping the whole time. I'm in my seats. I'm in my section with all the other Jet fans and whatnot. There's Eagle fans behind me saying we're gonna beat y'all by 50. I turned around and said 50. They're like, my bad play. We'll beat y'all by 40. I'm like, damn. Talking, yo, but it was the whole game until
uh,
the end of the game where Tony Adams had that interception. Place went nuts. Place went
silent.
nuts. That was it on the. I stayed till the last, till it was the thing was over. On my way out, I'm in every Eagles fan I see. I'm yelling. I'm in their
Some
faces.
smack talk
My wife is like this.
holding you
Yo,
back.
yo, you gotta stop. You're embarrassing me. You gotta stop. I'm like, yo, listen, they got. I don't care.
They started
I
it
don't
first,
care,
huh?
man. I don't care.
Okay.
And they was lucky that my wife was there. If it was other people there, I'd have got a lot crazier.
A little more rowdy.
I got a lot crazier. But that's the thing, Ken. Like for those Eagle fans just to get on us and then all of a sudden to be quiet, not even say, hey, y'all got that, y'all got that. No, y'all was quiet. And I never had a problem with Eagles fans before
Right.
until that day last year where I'm like, yo, y'all really doing this to us?
Yeah. What's the score prediction you got for this game?
I think by 10, man. I think Kansas City's gonna win by 10.
KC by 10 points. Okay. I said it's going to be a blowout. Eagles 37, I believe 37-24. I said yesterday on yesterday's podcast.
Saquon's the key. If Saquon could get over 100 yards, y'all win.
He's Kevin Gilbert, native of New Jersey, former EKM at a Cheesecake Factory and graduate of Johnson & Wales. You're a huge Knicks fan, right?
Yeah.
The glory days of the Knicks. How much fun was that
Ooh,
back in the 90s, man? Some of the favorite
ooh.
Knicks of all time.
Come on, man. John Starks, Patrick Ewing. I got Oakley, number 34, right behind me. Like
Yeah.
these guys were soldiers, generals. Like, with that was losing to the Rockets, man. Like that was tough. But you go against Olajuwon, you know, Drexler, like it was tough, man. Vernon Maxwell was there, Mara Ellie, Sam Cassell, like these guys were legit, man. And it just sucked that John Starks wasn't on his game. He gets a lot of slack for that, but at the end of the day, we didn't do our job as a whole team. But that was just it was tough, man. Garden always rocking. Like they played with so much heart. Derek Harper, Greg Anthony, like these guys really just gave it all, diving on the floor. Like how often right now do you see people, NBA players,
No,
diving on the floor for a ball? You don't see that, man.
not anymore.
You really don't. I'm not talking about like the ball's getting ready to go out of bounds, they grab the ball and throw it back. And I'm talking about jumping on the floor. Like the ball's on the floor and you're going on the floor and diving and getting on top. You don't see that. You don't. And that's what they used to do, man.
Things kind of cooled down for a while. The 90s were great, but you still stuck with them. MSG, a special place, MSG, right? Madison
Hmm.
Square Garden.
It's something about like the energy that's in that place. Now, obviously it's historic. It has, these concerts, boxing events, the Stanley Cup and Knicks games. Knicks, we won 2 championships there. It was a lot of history. It's historic. A lot of people say, it's the Mecca. Um, when you go there, it's like just this buzz, man. You just feel like it's electric. Like you just feel it. I was there a couple years ago, seeing the Nuggets, seeing Joker, and dude, it was just something there. No playoff game. Like the Knicks, we didn't have the number 2 seed yet. Like it had a good vibe, man. And the people all chill. Like we root, we yell, and all that. And it's way different from the Brooklyn Net fans.
Oh yeah,
The Brooklyn Net fan, like, does not like they don't have that same
passion.
passion
Yeah,
for it. And to be honest, man, for one season, I was a net season ticket holder when Brooke Lopez was a rookie. They had a good deal at the time where I split it with a friend, our seats, where we just paid $2,000 and we had tickets to 40 home games and 2 preseason games. And we were like 5 rows back from the court, which is like crazy. And this is when they were in New Jersey. So, it was fun, but there was no like electric,
electricity
like
back
there
in the
was nothing,
90s.
there was nothing there, man. And I remember going to Nets games when it was Derek Coleman and Kenny Anderson, and there was a lot of energy.
Yeah,
It's just something. It was something happened when it was no longer the Continental and it changed to Izod, where that was it, man. That was
yeah.
it.
Would you guys want to win a title if it wasn't for Michael Jordan in the 90s, the Knicks? One or two
Ooh,
titles?
I think so, man. They were just the people we couldn't get past.
Yeah.
MJ, Pippen, like Rodman, the cool coach. They didn't really have a center that could really bang with us, like Cartwright, Luke Longley. Like they weren't really like competing with Ewing. It was just a grind out game where the game back then it was half court back and forth. There wasn't You didn't really see a lot of fast breaks during those games. It was really just half court. You score a bucket, you get a stop, you walk it up the court. Like nowadays, person scores, you're passing out two passes and you got a bucket.
Yeah.
Like the game is totally different. I feel like the Warriors kind of set that pace.
Steph
When they
Curry.
started on their run.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But with the Knicks, man, just with Patrick Ewing and everything that he was able to do and the energy that he brought, like there was no center that was like where you give him the ball and he's gonna make something happen. It was just like the unfortunate finger roll against the Pacers that still like,
Oh, yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
still bother us to this day. Um Scottie Pippen banging on Ewing or
Oh,
whatever and pushing him to the ground, like those are just bad memories. And I still got my Starks 92, 93 poster of him dunking on all them.
did he dunk on Jordan? Starks, did he dunk on
Oh,
Jordan?
hey, the poster I got, Jordan's in it. He's getting banged on. You guys that say otherwise,
A different angle,
yo,
you
y'all
know.
looking at a different angle. Jordan's in that picture that I got, and he's getting flushed on.
Thoughts on Phil Jackson? Great head coach, not so good of a GM, right?
Oh my God, man! Like what he was able to do with the Bulls, with the personalities there. Once he got Rodman in there and dealing with him, because we all know, Rodman's a head case and whatnot. And you think Draymond Green's bad? Like, yo, Rodman was another animal, man. Like
He
he was
was.
someone that couldn't be controlled, but Phil
Yeah.
Jackson was able to do it with the help of Jordan. Like those guys was able to like calm him down and whatnot. And then going to LA and to be able to get a chip with Kobe and Shaq, knowing that their
Ricky.
relationship wasn't all that great,
Yeah.
that there was hate amongst both of them, which came out and all that. And Phil, did his best to, just make it work for chips and all that. What he did with the Knicks is, I mean, it should be a crime. Like he should go to jail just for what he did, for how he ruined Carmelo Anthony's trade value of just talking bad about him. Like we got Enos Cantor from Melo. Like that was just
Yeah.
awful, like
Awful.
unbelievable. Trade him to OKC. Like Melo wanted to be a Knick, and we just totally messed that up by not really supporting him. Like what he did for us, man. Like that's what Jalen's doing now. Jalen's like, give me the ball, I'll make this happen. But he had a cast, he had a group surrounding him. Phil Jackson trading Shumpert and J.R. Smith for nothing to Cleveland, and then
Yeah.
they wound up winning a championship. Like, what? Why'd you do that, Phil?
Yeah.
To this day, you look it up. We got nothing back. It was a trade exception. We literally got no players back. So it's
Right.
like, what was that for?
Right. Tough pill to swallow. So dark days, now some bright key additions. Things are looking pretty good. You got Obi, you got Cat, you got Bridges, you got Hart, Campaign. Sorry to see DiVincenzo go, but things are looking pretty bright for you guys, right? Moving forward.
Hey man, I'm on record saying I was fine with seeing DiVincenzo go. I was fine with seeing Randall go. I'm a Deuce guy. I felt like Deuce, you gotta let him shine because I felt like Deuce's defense is better than DiVincenzo's.
Right.
And you already see right now, DiVincenzo, when he was put with his boys, he was doing good. Now what he's doing now, he ain't putting up the same production, and Deuce is flourishing. Deuce is faster, he plays better defense, and he costs less. It was a no brainer to get rid of DiVincenzo because that's who they wanted. They wanted to recruit him during free agency, but he came with us because he had his boys or whatever, and it's New York and whatnot. But Randall, dude, I don't know a lot of people that were happy with the trade, with the Cat trade. I was ecstatic.
Yeah, Cat's great. Great
Ecstatic.
upside. Great upside.
Yo, Kent, let me tell you, man, I was ecstatic. I'm like, we got a center where you can give him the ball and he's gonna give you a bucket.
Yeah.
And he could also stretch it because before that, we ain't had nobody. Mitchell Robinson, he ain't shooting
He's
nothing.
not shooting the threes. No, he's not
Nah,
shooting them.
man. We just had like these just fill in centers. Like we never had like a really good center since Patrick Ewing, in my opinion. Like you tell me since Patrick, who was like a really good center. We ain't have that, man. You
Right,
know,
for sure.
can be whatever. I'm talking about somebody who's good, not a good role player. I'm talking about a starting center. We ain't have that, man. So
All-star
now,
center. Yeah.
yeah, now we got Cat, dude. He's also a good rim protector, man. I
Good.
get all the hey, he's soft and he
Soft.
needs to
Yeah.
toughen up. Man, I get all that, man. You tell me what game this year that he looks soft.
Yeah. He's dropping dimes, buckets out there for sure.
Dime, but all that
All
stuff,
that.
man.
How far you see the Knicks going this year? Are they going to come out of the East?
It got to be health, man.
Okay.
Just think of last year. We
Last
were
year, banged up at the wrong time. Yeah.
that literally Randall. People, the Nick fans, these Nick fans that applaud Randall and all this kind of stuff, man. What did he do for us in the postseason? He didn't do a damn thing. He was injured this last postseason. He didn't play not a single minute. And then Mitchell Robinson goes down against Philly, and then OG goes down as well, and then Brunson breaks his thumb or his wrist. Like, dude, we did all this stuff with injured folks, man. Like Josh Hart, there was 2 games where he didn't even come out.
Yeah.
He
He
played
played. He
straight
played the
through.
entire game. Yeah.
He played
Yeah.
straight through.
Yeah.
So OG's out right now. I don't know if how long he's out. I don't know if you know. I haven't looked into it.
Right.
When he went down because it was non-contact against the Lakers, I'm like, yo, come on, man. Of course now this is gonna happen. I'm just frustrated with Tibbs because he doesn't use his bench to give these guys a breather.
He writes the starters very hard at times.
They
Dating back to Chicago, same thing.
exactly, man.
Yeah.
It's what he's known to do.
Old school.
It's old school. I mean, he was one of Jeff Van Gundy's assistants. He was there when Zoe and LJ was throwing them hands. Like he was on the staff, and then after that, then he went to the Celtics and won his chip with Doc. Like Tibbs he's from New York too. Thibodeau. He's a Knicks fan, so I don't want to say it's like an Aaron Glenn thing because he didn't play for the Knicks, but he coached the Knicks as an assistant and all that. And
He
he
gets it.
wants this.
Yeah,
Yeah, he gets it.
He
He
gets
wants this. And he got slack at the beginning where it's like, oh, he doesn't play rookies. Oh, he doesn't play these players. Like he got a lot of slack, man.
Yeah.
But he's progressing and doing well. The knock that I've always had is just him just not giving the bench players time, man.
Some playing time. Yeah.
Get him in, like
See what they
campaign.
can do.
He's good. Give Deuce the ball more. We need
course.
Jalen Brunson later on. We need him in April and May, man. We don't
When
need
it
him
matters
right now.
most.
Just
Exactly.
come on. We need them healthy, man. So it's just frustrating. I could see us going far. Like I'm not afraid of the Celtics. Philly, they look good. But I'm not worried about Philly. And then it's like,
Giannis.
who else is there? We beat the Bucks, like with a healthy Giannis. Like
Yeah.
I'm not. We could really make a good run, but it's all about health. If we're not healthy, we ain't getting out the East.
Cavs for real? What do you think about the Cavs season so far?
Ooh, I think they are, man.
Yeah, I think so
I think they
too.
are because they had every opportunity to like digress to start going on a losing streak, and something's clicking, man. Something's clicking with Garland. Like that dude Mobley, like he's now an all-star, and I think a well-deserved all-star. Uh great at the rim, man. Great
Yeah.
defender. And then they still have Jared, man. Jared's still a good dude. Now he didn't make the all-stars, but he's still a great defender. He's good in the
Jared
pick and roll
Allen.
game.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Great in the pick and roll game. He could shoot the little 15-footer.
Good
They
coach
have
too.
they have good depth, man. They're well coached. Like I think they're the real deal, man. I don't think they're a sleeper. It's almost like a OKC where they're for real too, man. Like Shea,
Yeah, he's
he's
on this
playing at
another
an
level.
MVP level right now. Right now,
Sure.
where it makes the Clippers look crazy for trading him for Paul George, with a bunch of picks,
Yeah.
and it's also the talent and the development, because this just didn't happen overnight. Like it's steady, like he was just getting better and better and better
Every season he got
every
better.
season, man,
Yeah.
every season. So he's at I think they're for real as well, man.
Thoughts on Trey Young? Is it a mutual hatred, him and
Yeah.
Halliburton? You guys got a lot of things going on with these guys. Trey Young, Halliburton, man. What's going on over there?
Yes. So, man, that was funny, man. Like with the F Trey Young stuff. It it's
Rolling
one
the
of
dice on you guys. Yeah.
Yeah, that was this season. But
Yeah.
this dated back a couple years when we made it to the first round and we lost to them. And it's one of those things, as like I'm not a New Yorker, but when I say New Yorkers, I include all of us, like Knicks fans or whatever, and just fans of other teams, but like New Yorkers, where that's like FU is a sign of like, hey, you're doing good,
Yeah. His
kind
respect.
of
Sign
deal,
of respect. Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, and then we also said FMB too. Like if Embiid
Oh yeah,
was
made.
was was a center for us,
Yeah.
he'd be beloved by the whole city, man. It would,
Yeah.
like, he's one of those dudes now. Reggie Miller, that was hate, like hatred. We
Yeah.
we hate Miller. But Trey Young, it's like we could like, if it came in a fist fight, like we could feel like we could beat him up, kind of deal. Like it's just how he gets these shots off
Yeah.
or whatever, and he gets his team involved, and then he wins, and then he does these things or whatever, and he talks a little smack and all that, where just like he knows what he's doing, and he's admitted this. He's like he likes being the villain.
He does. He sure does. The Knicks, great franchise, haven't won since the 70s. Bill Bradley and others. Thoughts about Spike Lee? What has he meant to the New York Knicks? You think the Knicks, you always think about Spike Lee, right? Sitting
Always think
courtside.
about Spike, how Dolan and them dummies was treating him all messed
Oh,
up.
terrible, terrible.
You don't do. At the end of the day, Spike's a season ticket holder.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
he's paying for these seats. It's not
yeah.
like y'all are giving to him for free and he acting up. He's a fan at the end of the day, and he's paying a lot of money for these seats. So it's important that you don't lose sight of the fact that he is somebody that's in entertainment. He's he's in my opinion the biggest Nick fan that we have. There's celebrities and musicians and all that kind of stuff who say the Nick fans and whatnot. There's nobody bigger than Spike, and a lot of the stuff started when we played against the Bulls, when we played against the Pacers. I was at the game where we played against Seattle Supersonics, and Ray Allen was still on the team, where Rashard Lewis, and he was chirping at them because that was during the time when they had the He Got Love game
Yeah,
came
yeah,
out or
yeah, yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
So that was, I was there for that. But Spike, he's somebody that's passionate, man. Like what I was referencing with Fireman Ed before. Like
Yeah.
Spike's somebody that's he's at the games, man, and he's cheering, he's rooting, like he just wants to see them win and whatnot. And then when they're doing bad, it's like, what are
Yeah.
you gonna do if you speak out against the team? And then you get met with Dolan and his goons. Like that ain't right, man. I never appreciated that whatsoever, and how they did my man Oakley too.
Yeah, Oakley. Yeah, that
Come
incident with
on, man.
Oakley. Yeah. Are you a fan of James Dolan? Knicks fans seem like they're not really a fan of James Dolan.
Nah,
Sell
man.
the team, a lot of Dolan sell the team chance. He's a very
Yeah,
fickle guy, right? Very thin-skinned guy, right? It seems like.
yeah, thin skin. You can't bring no signs of the games. You can't say stuff against him. You can't start no chants or anything like that. They'll
Throw you out.
cancel you. You'll be banned and all that stuff. He's done it. He's the same way at Rangers games. He's that rich kid
Yeah.
who got a bunch of money through his parents and all that, and he's a spoiled kid. And at this point, it's the same thing with Woody Johnson with the Jets. Like you can say sell a team, he ain't selling a team. So you just got to deal with it. It's just gonna piss him off or whatever, but he ain't gonna do anything. Reports already came out with the Athletic with Diana Rossini already saying like
Yeah.
he's grooming his son to take over the team. Like, talking with the Jets and Woody Johnson, like his son is handing out game balls like after
Yeah.
games. Like who is this? He's 17 years old. I didn't even know Woody Johnson had a son at
Yeah.
17. I thought it was his grandson, to be honest. But this kid's handing out game balls at the end of the games. Like, come on, what
Yeah.
is this?
Yeah.
But Dolan, man, I haven't been a fan. Like, he didn't like Sprewell, and when the whole thing went down with Oakley, the following game he invited Sprewell back. Like, hey man, I'm cool with Sprewell. Like, you might be mad at me with Oakley, but I got Sprewell here. Like, Sprewell is one of my favorite Knicks of all time, and
Yeah.
he was able to get us to the chip to go against San Antonio when we went against the Twin Towers. Like, Sprewell, he's one of those dudes, but he's also an outspoken Nick as well, which is why he got in the hot water with Dolan, why Dolan banned him.
Yeah.
Basically, like he wasn't even allowed back at the Garden.
NBA ratings are down. If you're the commissioner, how do you fix that? Load management as well. Too many threes, maybe shorter quarters, move the 3-point line a little back. If you're a commissioner, how would you fix the ratings, NBA ratings?
That's a good question, man. I just think that I think more physicality, man. I think with them being really sensitive right now with certain play styles and calls, like whenever that guy Isaiah Stewart, like whenever he gets involved in something, now he's like the new Draymond Green. Like, I think the NBA is getting too soft, where it's like let them bang, let them get physical, because that's what happened before when the Knicks used to play against whoever, when Detroit with the bad boys, when they used to play other teams, like there was gonna be some physicality and some scrappiness going on. That's entertaining. Like,
Dylan
this
Brooks.
the NBA, that's again, that's entertaining. Like,
He
people want to
cracks me
see
up,
that.
that guy. He cracks me
That
up,
gets
man.
clicks, man. It
Yeah,
gets
yeah, it
clicks.
does.
It
It
gets the
does.
views.
It does.
So if that's what it's getting, I understand throwing punches, but when these guys are just pushing each other and you're giving these texts and throwing these guys out, it's like, come, like, stop being so soft, man. Let them play. Let them get physical. If they throw a punch, then all right. Like, I think they know that they're going to be suspended. But if they're just being like a little scrappy, maybe someone gets caught around the neck or whatever, going up for a layup. Yeah, that could be a flagrant. But don't just throw them out the game. Like, let
Yeah,
them get physical. Let it build up, because now it's tension. Now it's building up. Now you're going to see some more action. For
for
me,
sure.
that's what you do. Stop playing. Stop coaching it. So, I mean, managing, refereeing it so tight. Let them play. Let them play
Yeah,
more. And for me, I feel like that'll work. Now, for moving the 3-point line back, like, I wouldn't do that, just because now certain records I don't think hold the same weight.
okay.
Because now the 3-point record, now that's gonna be tough to beat if you're moving it back and all that. And then you're encouraging a different style of play. I think basketball just should be played however the philosophy of the head coach is. Because I'm somebody who believes in the mid range, a short range game. If you could drive it, you can kick it out, no problem. Kick it out to an open man for three.
For
But
sure.
I don't feel like you should just abandon mid range, abandon 2-pointers. Because even after you miss, if you're around the rim, you can get a rebound. It's a little bit more predictable on where the ball is going to bounce from a mid range. If you're out at the 3-point line and you're shooting it, now you're getting a high bounce, is going further away from you in the basket. It's kind of hard to judge. But with the mid range,
Yeah,
that's where a lot of people get those putback dunks off the mid range. They don't get it off of 3-point shots. It's off the mid range.
yeah. I saw this thing the other day. Joel Embiid made $109 million for sitting down. Thoughts on him and load management?
You said 109
$109
million.
million just being on the bench, sitting down, not even playing a game.
So that's something for Philly fans to like put up with, because for myself, like, if I'm a season ticket holder and I'm paying money to see Joel play and he's not playing when I'm there, I'm not gonna be happy with that.
For sure.
But then you gotta put into perspective what's more important, the regular season or the playoffs. Like, you gotta balance what works well. And if you're a season ticket holder, your value on your tickets go up when they make the playoffs. So for me, rest the guy. You got Paul George, he's entertaining. You got Maxi, I feel like he's really good. Somebody who's underrated on that team, who's a little older, Kelly Oubre. I feel like he's a really nice piece, a good defender, a guy that slashes to the basket, gets a lot of nice easy dunks at the rim. Like, they have a really solid team, and I believe Kyle Lowry, he's off the bench.
Kyle Lowry.
He has a championship experience as well. Someone who understands the pace of the game, um, and is a great distributor. That team is nice. So I get Joel, I get him not being there 100% of the time, but it's like Anthony Davis. You got to worry about his load management as well because there's times where he gets banged up a little bit, and it's
For
like,
sure.
well, what are you doing at practice? Can you sit him out of practice, during certain things, and then let him bang for a little bit during the game? Can you just manage his minutes a little bit better, where you don't have to let him sit the whole game? Like for me, just putting my coaching hat on, that's what I would do to help that situation, especially knowing that there are some people that aren't happy not being able to see him.
Shout out to your son Ryan, right? Hitting what 58 followers, 1,000 followers on his YouTube channel, the fastest for fastest food reviews. How cool is that, man?
Yeah, man. So my son Kevin Jr., man, he's plugging away, man. It's like my wife, her father, my father-in-law, he's a chef in the city. So for for my son to have on both sides of his family the restaurant industry, because on my wife's side there's other family members that have been in the industry and all that and still working it. um it's in his blood, and he loves to eat, he loves to go to restaurants, he loves food and everything like that. So when my wife and I asked him a couple years ago when he was 7 what he wanted to do when he gets older, he said he wanted to be a video game streamer, like on YouTube or whatever. So like, all right, great. But we couldn't just let him start doing that. So what was going on in our heads was, let's start a YouTube channel, which was called Chef Kevin Gilbert's with an S, because it was just me and my son, and
Okay.
we would figure out something. And we went to Mr. Beast Burger, who I didn't know who Mr. Beast was, but we went to Mr. Beast Burger at the American Dream Mall, and was bugging me. Oh, I want to go, I want to go. I'm like, all right, cool, I'll go. I went there, and I'm looking around. I'm like, what is this place? It's a restaurant, but like, what is this about? I never heard of it. And
Right.
for me being in the industry, I feel like I know a lot of this stuff, the trendy spots, the viral food things or whatever. I don't know how this Mr. Beast Burger got past me, but it did. And my son was all hyped up about it, so he got a burger, I got a grilled cheese. We sit down, and I pull out my phone because I wanted the reaction. I wanted the reaction from him, see what it was about.
Right.
My son literally took a bite, and without even chewing, he was like, "Oh my god, this is so amazing." So I'm like, "So amazing." Well, he didn't even chew it. He didn't even swallow. He didn't even swallow. Like, what are you talking about? This is the best. This is, he's basically saying this is the greatest burger he's ever had. He took a bite and that was it. It was
Yeah.
almost like a hype beast kind of thing,
Yeah.
where just
Yeah.
like he
Yeah.
it built up to this moment. He was
Right.
bugging us for months or whatever. He's been seeing it on YouTube and everyone else's reaction. And he finally got to this, took a bite. It was whatever. I captured that, and then I was like, I was like, here, try my grilled cheese. So we tried the grilled cheese, and he said what he said, and I record that too. Couple days go by, and I'm like, you know what? Let me post that video of him eating the burger. So I posted that. That was our first video. It got a little over 1,000 views, and this is literally without. We had 0 subscribers. I didn't promote it on my social medias or nothing. I just want to organically see, how this stuff works. Got over 1,000 views. So I'm like, huh, this is strange.
Yeah.
And then I posted the grilled cheese, and it got over 1,000 as well. I'm like, and we
People-
gained like a couple subscribers off of it. So I guess, like, long story short, whenever we're out or whatever, because we don't do it every time, because sometimes it's like, "Oh, I don't want to do it."
Right.
But whenever we're out, we'll just clip something or whatever, and it's literally 30 seconds. So we go to a spot,
Right.
he'll try something. If he likes it, he'll say something or whatever. 9 times out of 10, if we're going to a spot, it's a good spot. Like, I don't take my family to some hole in the walls or bad
Right.
food or whatever. I
For sure.
just take them to a good place. We did a review at the Cheesecake Factory. Had the mac and cheese burger or whatever, and he loved it. He rated that. We've done chicken and waffles at the Cheesecake Factory. We did maybe like 2 or 3 videos. We have over 180 right now on YouTube.
Wow.
So we've grown the channel over the past 2 years, and we're over 500,000 views.
Half
We
a million
have
views.
over 500,000 views right now. We got I looked the other day, like 58,000 subscribers. We might be close to 59,000 now. Um, but it's like, the work that he's putting in. He's now one video, the SpongeBob video that he did. He did the burger that got like almost 10,000 views, which
Wow.
was good. And then he did like this video on television, SpongeBob and Patrick are doing something, and he's just like, my son's being animated and just like going with the television because we got a big TV, and he's like doing stuff, and that went viral. That was like a couple months ago.
Right.
It's over 200,000 views right now with like 60 something thousand likes.
Wow.
So he got a lot of shares, a lot of subscribers off of that. And we're just plugging away, man. We got some things in the works with that, with the website, the merch store. We got some other behind the scenes stuff like music video. Like we got all these things coming. So you'll see more stuff during the summertime. But we're just plugging away, getting this going so my son can, really take this over or whatever. So it basically was like a me and him thing, and then boom, I'm just letting him rock, man. This is all him right now.
Shout out to Kevin Jr. So what's the YouTube channel, Kev? You want to plug that in
Yeah,
there?
thanks for asking, man. One word: fastest food reviews with a S. Fastest food reviews. Just type it all together. It'll pop up. You'll see me in a Robin outfit. You'll see my son in a Batman outfit, and we're at a Jet game. It was like the Halloween joint. Not this past year. It was a couple years ago when we played the Patriots when Zach Wilson was still our starting quarterback before Rodgers was here. And that was a cool times there. My wife, we were there with some friends, and it was important to kind of just put it both of us there and whatnot. And on his Instagram, the Instagram's the same, fastest food reviews. We only got like 30 followers, nothing crazy, but from there, we did a Pizza Hut video, and I tagged Pizza Hut, and Pizza Hut commented on it, which was like pretty cool because Pizza Hut
That's pretty
has like
dope.
a couple million followers.
Yeah,
We did the Mr. Beast burger, like that first video we did on YouTube. I posted that to Instagram. That was our first video, and then Mr. Beast responded to that, and that got 10,000 views. That was our first video on Instagram, so that was cool. We got this guy Xavier Gibson. He's the dude that returned that punt return a couple years ago on the 9/11 game. It was crazy this past year for football. It was my son's first time doing football. We actually had a game the day after the Jets and the Giants had their preseason game. We had a game on that field, which was cool. My nephew and my son were on
that's
the
pretty
same
dope.
team that I coach, and it was cool. 2 weeks later, we got invited to the Jets practice facility in Florham Park to do a segment with SNY, and Xavier Gibson and Jason Brownlee, both wide receivers, were there during practice. And we got to practice there and all that kind of stuff, which was cool. And at the end, my son actually raced against Xavier Gibson,
That's awesome,
which,
man.
yeah, so I got that and all that. It was on the segment. I posted that on our YouTube page. It's on the playlist. I only bring that up because my son wanted to like reach out to Xavier Gibson's through the Instagram or whatever. So I did it with him, and Xavier Gibson is now following us, which is like pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty awesome.
Hmm.
Shout out to Kev Jr. for that, man. Pretty dope.
Appreciate it, man.
Before I let you go, favorite rapper of all time?
Oof, man. It's like currently, I mean, it's been like this for a while, Jay-Z,
Okay.
but like my first cassette that I ever had was MC Hammer.
Oh,
I had I
nice.
was I was
Too
a
legit to
too
quit,
too
huh?
legit to quit, you know.
Oh.
Being a Jet fan, that kind of just worked.
Yeah,
Too
that's dope.
legit to quit. Hey,
Hey.
hey. But in middle school, I became like a Master P No Limit fan. And
Okay.
I actually got the No Limit tank tatted on my arm when I was in
Mm,
high school,
really?
which is crazy. Yeah,
Make him
yeah,
say, okay. Nah, nah, nah,
yeah.
nah. Okay.
Exactly. Yep,
Okay.
yep. Love Biggie, love Pac.
Yeah,
Those are classics.
for sure.
But Jay-Z, man, he's just one of those cats that consistently stayed consistent and didn't just keep talking about, back in the day kind of stuff. Just as he evolved and became a family man and stuff like that, the music changed and whatnot. And I was able to see him live a bunch of times, which is like, incredible seeing him there, and just how he's like, moving and talking and saying things. It's like something I've never seen before, man.
Better season, Mets or Yankees?
Oh, Yankees by far, man. Come on.
Okay. All right.
Met. I mean, the Met fans. I'm happy for them that they got Soto.
Uh-huh.
That's one guy. They still don't have. They still don't take care of their home by getting Pete Alonso back. Like, I think they're doing a big like a disservice by just not taking care of that, by giving Soto all his money, by giving him a box or whatever. Like, I thought that was wrong. But losing Soto, all of us Yankee fans basically are in lockstep, knowing that what Cashman was able to do, pivot off of that, and then bring in pitching, bring in some bats. Like, I really feel like we did a great job of maneuvering quickly, and knowing that we're actually better. Like, it's crazy. We lose Soto, but what he did was get starting and relieving help and get a closer.
Can't ask for anything better than that, right?
Like Cashman, come on,
Yeah.
man. And I don't think he's done. I really don't think he's done yet, man.
For
I
sure.
felt like losing Glaber Torres, that was inevitable. I felt like that would have happened. I was just talking about one of my buddies the other day, like, who's gonna be a second. He was like, Jazz Chisholm probably move over to second. I'm like,
More than
that ain't
likely.
bad. That ain't
Yeah.
bad, just for a little plug.
Yeah, for sure.
But
Um,
Yankees, man, Yankees all day.
Yankees for sure. Anthony Bourdain, how will history remember him? Any thoughts on him?
Anthony Bourdain. So uh like my man Emerald, man. Bourdain was one that I could, people could correct me if I'm wrong, but Bourdain was the first one to really do a show where it included traveling and trying different food and
Foods.
cuisines from different cultures
Yeah.
and areas from around the world. Um, I didn't really know too much about him before his book that came out, where it kind of like exposed a lot of like the behind the scenes stuff about the restaurant industry, with like the drugs, the drinking, the sex that goes on and stuff like that. The nightlife, knowing how in the restaurant, if you got a liquor license, you got liquor there. People drinking and all that kind of stuff, like, people partying and everything like that. Drug usage and everything. Like, it's one of those things where if you're not groomed to like say no, if you're not groomed to like not go with the crowd or whatever, you can easily get sucked into that. Because I was 15 years old working in a restaurant, I'm not going to say the name of the spot, but because I was 15, I was able to see this stuff firsthand. And because I was 15, the staff didn't pressure me into, doing the stuff that they was doing, but I would see it. They would do the stuff out in the open and
It
all
was all
that.
around
And
you.
it
Yeah.
was all around me, man. This is in the late 90s. So I was able to, see the stuff and then keep myself clear of that. Which, to this day, very thankful for, because then when I was in the city, of course, I had the opportunities many a times to like hang out with staff, drink with staff, party with staff, but nope, ship's done, adios.
Yeah.
And you could attest to that at the Cheesecake Factory and talking to people. Like, y'all ain't seen me hanging out with staff. There's staff members can't say anything. Um, Michael Blue, God rest his soul. That was my guy. Him, like, I would have like an after shift drink with him. Um, that's it, man.
Yeah.
That's it. I didn't hang out with people, and I felt comfortable with Mike Blue, because him and I both started on the same day in West Nyack training. He was promoted within. He was a, server bartender, and was promoted to a manager. And then I was external, where I already had the experience. I'm just now, being promoted and working my way up. So I was able to give him experience from management from the outside point of view, and he was able to teach me like the cheesecake kind of way, but from his style and his way and all that. And built a great bond with him. I think about him a lot. Think about him often. It was
Yeah,
sad to see him go. I was at his funeral.
yeah.
I still stay in contact with his mom. Um, it's tough, but he was that one dude that I would step out with and have a drink with. But other than that, man, staff can't say that I hung out with them because that's just not something I was doing.
It's Black History Month. What does that mean to you?
Dude, man, civil rights, man. There's my family, a lot of hard work, man, when it comes to civil rights, grassroots. Um, Charlene, she's still alive. She was my grandma's best friend. She actually ran for presidency for the third party. Oh man, I think this was in like the '60s, and she was the first black woman and black man to run for office as a third party. So that was pretty cool. Um, there's a lady called her name is Theodore Lacey. I consider her like an aunt to me. She's a family friend. She goes to our church. I know her kids. One of her daughters was our teacher for my brother and I. Um, she she knew Martin Luther King and Coretta Scott King and has pictures with them and all that kind of stuff and done peace work with them. And she actually has a school in Teaneck named after her, which is crazy. And she's still alive. So it's like, an honor that Teaneck was able to give her her flowers while she's alive rather than giving her a school after her name when she passes.
Yeah,
So like my uncle has done work with Maya Angelou. My uncle, he's the head director for the Africana Library at Cornell. I just visited him a couple weeks ago up there. Um, it's important, man, just to know your history and to know um, how much we all fought for civil rights, women's rights, uh, just taking care of one another, like just not just thinking about somebody and already having a prejudgment based off of them, off the color of their skin, like getting to know somebody, not being afraid by how somebody looks because of their skin color. Like the work that a lot of Americans, not just African Americans, just whites, Jews, Muslims, just everybody put in work in this country to be able to make it to where it's at today, and we're still not even close
yeah,
to being done yet. We still got a lot of work to do. We still, there's been some setbacks and whatnot, but it's still important to make sure that you're still honoring, you're still remembering Martin Luther King Day. His last month. That's an important day. Before people just think of like, oh, it's a day off or whatever. Like, nah, it's more than just a day off, man. It's a reflection, knowing that this man he sacrificed himself
it's
for
life.
us.
Yeah, yeah,
So and then you could think of other people like Malcolm X, where his philosophy was a little bit different from Martin Luther King, but still wanted, same opportunities. And then you think about sports. Think about Jackie Robinson. You think about football, basketball. You just think of different sports where integration of African Americans in the sports and the roller coasters that they had to go through, and knowing where the game is at today, where now 90% of the athletes in the NFL are black. In the NBA, I don't know those numbers, but there's a large part of African Americans in there as well. Baseball is moving to Hispanic. There's a lot of Hispanics playing baseball right now, which is like awesome to see, man. Because you don't really see a lot of Hispanics in football or in basketball.
basketball. Yeah, that's for sure.
So it's work that's never done, but it's still work. It's still awareness. Like you don't have to go to rallies. You don't have to, speak out on social media, but just doing work and talking and educating, like you're doing right. Martin Luther King still lives in us through that.
For sure. Last time I saw you, I was at your wedding. That was a great day. A lot has changed since then. What does family mean to you in all of this?
Family's everything, man. Family's still the reason why I'm at where I'm at, man. And doing what I'm doing and being happy. We did lose some family members along the way, but the family members that are here right now, it's like, they lift you up, they pick your spirits up, when you're having a bad day, when you need a pick me up, when you're like, my friends, they're all around the country. I have one of my good buddies who was one of my groomsmen in our wedding. He's in Germany now. Like, I don't have a lot of people that are here where I can physically, like, go out with them to have a drink or something, or get a bite to eat, or just to shoot some hoops. Like, I don't have that here. So family is here, and at the end of the day, being able to coach my son in basketball, in football, in baseball, and to teach him lessons, and helping him with the YouTube stuff, and just helping him uh with activities, and getting up early. Like, I don't sleep in. I make him breakfast all the time, like, dinners, just doing a bunch of stuff. Like, it's important to be able to still be grounded, still be humble, and know that you can't do this by yourself. And my son plays a big role in all that. My wife, just knowing, the stuff that she's been dealing, battling, and keeping her head up, and knowing that every day ain't dandelions and rose petals, man. Like, it's you're gonna have some tough times, and you're gonna have some challenging days and whatnot. And knowing that she has better days than negative days, it's a blessing. And just to know and see, like, what she's going through. And I haven't seen everything, but knowing, the surgeries and the certain procedures and stuff, and knowing how she feels afterwards, and knowing there's a process and everything, and she's not, 100% right now. It's just seeing how she's dealing with her day and whatnot. And that's really inspiring, knowing how much she's putting into this to feel better, to be here for the long run, because she has to be here, for the family and whatnot. And she has the good attitude, and nobody's here giving her any kind of pep talks and whatnot. Like, she's just going out there and doing her thing, and that's inspiring, man. That's family, man. It's we all go through challenging stuff. We all got the problems and everything. We all deal with loss in different ways. We all deal with tragedy. But then it's just like, how you gonna rebound?
How you bounce back? Yeah.
Are you just gonna cry and be bad and feel bad for yourself, and just drink a whole lot, or just smoke a whole lot, and just escape from all the stuff? Or you're just gonna face it head on, and deal with it, and know that it's tough to do all that. And that's just something that, the way I'm built, man, you just, you face it head on. It might not be the easiest. You're gonna have some tough conversations and all that, and the road is gonna be tough. But just as long as you put your foot down, and you have a good attitude, which is the most important, everything else will work out, man.
For sure. Hey, absolute pleasure having you on the program today. Say hello to everybody for me, the wife, Kevin, everybody out there. Um, I think highly of you, your opinions, and always it's a pleasure, man. It's good to see you today, man. Good to connect.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Likewise,
Let,
man.
let's let's not wait so long, man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Nah, you've always been the homie, man. Like, at the Cheesecake Factory, I didn't want to be a pain, but I always told you, you got to get into management, man. Just
Yeah,
just do it. You're very knowledgeable. You're great with people. You're a hard worker. You show up. Like, when it came to servers and the gold standard, you're somebody that embeds that. Like, your uniform, always crispy, always ironed, always look professional and sharp, always did the right thing, never got involved in drama, always made sure that people were in the right spots, man. And that's admirable. And that's why I try to get into your ear, but at the same time, not try to be like a father figure. Just try to come at you as from a friend standpoint, knowing, like,
right.
hey, man, you're better than just being this. You got a lot of potential, and you could really make a lot more out of the industry that you're in right now. And it was really great to see you getting the promotion and working hard and still going through, man. It's like, you know, not a lot of people can say that they've been on this journey and is putting the work that you've did with the same company for as long as you've been doing.
Yeah.
And that's really admirable, man. So, you know, the salute to you. I appreciate you for having me on. It's always a pleasure talking sports with you. We did this
Years ago.
2011.
Yeah.
This is long time, and this is at the
Yeah.
crib too.
Yeah.
This is
Long
at the
time coming.
crib.
Long time coming, man.
hmm So I
So
appreciate you thinking about me. Continued success, man. Let me know whenever you want to get up again, my brother.
likewise, enjoy the rest of your day, man. Appreciate you
Will
always.
do. Salute, man.
It's Kevin Gilbert.